Good afternoon, Judge.
Hi, Judge.
Good afternoon,
Good
Judge.
afternoon, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Perales, we're just to clarify so everybody knows, Mr. Perales's daughter is joining us today. I've given her permission to sit in and observe, and I hope that's okay with everybody.
No objections here.
No objection.
Yeah, no objections.
We need, I've said we need more Perales.
No objection.
Yes, we need
do.
her.
Thank you, Your Honor. Appreciate that.
So just so everybody knew who that is, that's Ms. Valerie Perales. And so welcome, Valerie. We're happy to have you here. All right, Mr. Perales, I guess we need to try to get set up with parents real quickly. So we have, she's going by the name of Grace Amaya
Yes, ma'am.
on our screen. And then, let's see, Mr. They've got so many people on my screen. Okay, Mr. Marquez.
Actually, Your Honor, I believe that his last name is Amaya. Marquez is his mother's surname.
Okay, so Sergio Amaya,
Correct.
I believe we needed interpretation for, correct?
Yes, we do.
Okay, and what about Ms. Riley, your client? Does she need interpretation as well or not?
I don't believe so. I've spoken to her in English every time that I speak to her.
Okay, very good. Just double checking.
Yes.
Can I
And
tell
Judge,
him?
I am just so that you know, I'm going to switch over to my computer just so that I'm not on my cell phone. So if you see another me popping up, that's why.
Okay, and I'll let you in.
And then I'll get off of this.
Yeah,
with your permission, please.
Because we're going to start the interpretation feature and get all that going.
Yes.
Okay.
Señora
Yes,
Maya.
ma'am.
Señora Maya, ¿me escucha? Señora Maya, si está usando su teléfono, la juez va a prender la función de la interpretación para que usted pueda.
Okay, everybody ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
All
Your
right,
Honor.
then I will
Yes,
call
Your Honor.
cause number. We're here today for an adversary hearing. We are conducting this by Zoom under a finding of good cause and agreement of the parties. We're live streaming. And as Ms. Katie pointed out, we are recording to the Zoom cloud. I don't have a reporter today. Okay, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Pamela Ferguson, managing attorney representing the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. I am present and ready with investigator Kimberly Castor. Let's see, and for the department, and also then permanency specialist Charlene, and I cannot say her last name. I'll ask her to say it.
Oimana.
And Supervisor Venice Mincy from St. Francis Ministries. We are all present. We are ready to proceed, and I think we have an announcement to make.
Tracy Riley appearing for the mother, Grace Amaya, and we are present and ready to proceed, Your Honor.
Meredith Graff appearing for Sergio Amaya, and we are ready to proceed. Thank you.
Stacy Grant appearing for Jesus Aquino, and my client is not present, whereabouts unknown right now, Judge.
Savannah Kincaid, I represent the children. I'm present and ready.
Monica Olivas with CASA, present and ready.
All right, thank you. All right, then. Ms. Ferguson, if you want to go ahead and make whatever announcement there is, just again, be mindful. We have an interpreter, so go a little bit slower.
Yes, Your Honor. And I also want to let you know I'm getting the flashing. Your internet is unstable, so I will try to get this done. That my internet is unstable. Okay. I believe that the parties agree for the department to continue as temporary managing conservators. The parties agree for us to ask the court today to order a ICPC home study on Mr. Sergio Amana and in Florida. I understand that the parties are in agreement to work services and that they will be meeting with St. Francis regarding the service plan. At this time, the department is not seeking any child support or medical support for the children at this time. And we would ask the court to make that downward adjustment in consideration of the time and efforts that the parents will be spending in working services.
All right, go over the home study one more time. Is that on the father, Sergio Amaya?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And he lives in Florida.
And is that for all three children?
He admits that he does not believe that he is the father of the youngest child, but he does want all three children placed with him. So we would be asking for the home study for all three.
And he understands that's going to be an ICPC and that it can take some time.
He does, Your Honor. Also, the parties have discussed it and agreed that we would ask the court to enter an injunction against the placement or any parties other than the department CASA ad litem talking to the children about the case or about the other parties in the case. And that we would ask that to include placement.
So the injunction was going to be against discussing the case or talking about the other
Essentially,
parties.
there's a concern that the placement is talking to the children about their parents and saying
Okay.
things. Yeah.
All right. So if we say discussing the case or making any disparaging remarks.
Yeah. Thank you. And Your Honor, we didn't discuss this as part of our agreement, but I think it's inherent in the agreement that the parties stipulate to the department making reasonable efforts. I see heads shaking, but obviously that is, I mean, TMC can't be agreed to if we don't agree to reasonable efforts.
Yes, I wasn't shaking my head at that. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I was
I'm so sorry. I agree.
Okay. So I would
Sorry,
ask the court to make that
Absolutely
finding.
agree. Yes.
Thank
agree.
you. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay. All right. And I'll clarify that when I make a ruling. Okay. All right. Where are the children placed right now? With family or in foster?
They're placed with my mother.
It's my understanding that the youngest, that the oldest two, the youngest two are placed with their maternal grandmother. And I believe, and her name is Sylvia Guerra, I think. And I may not, I'm horrible at last names, so probably mispronounce that. It is my understanding that Sergio Jr. is in foster care at this time.
Yes. And then the oldest is still with Grace, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And Judge, just so I believe originally all three of the younger children were placed with Grace's mother, but there was her second child has autism and has some special needs. And I think that her mother did not feel like she could adequately care for him in addition to the other two children. And so he was placed at a foster care, but Grace knows that and she understands why that had to happen.
Okay. Is he in region? Okay, I'm saying.
I would ask
no.
I think he's in
Charlene to
Houston.
address that.
No, he is in Houston. He's in Region 6.
Okay. Well, we keep looking for something closer.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right then, Ms. Riley, does this sound like you and your client's agreement?
Yes, Judge, it does. I think that Grace is very willing to work services and to do whatever she needs to do to get her kids back, but she also has full trust in Mr. Amaya. So she definitely wants that home study to take place. She is concerned, Judge, because she does think, although she appreciates her mother stepping in, there is a lot of uh, tension in their relationship. And so we are asking that the court do what the court would normally do and just advise that she not speak about Grace negatively in front of the children. I don't think that she's speaking directly to the kids about Grace. It's just conversations with other people when the children can hear.
Okay. All right. All right, Ms. Gruff, you and your client's agreement?
Yes, Your Honor. He is hoping that the ICPC will be done as expeditiously as possible. And he's willing to care for all three of the younger children in his home when the home study is completed and the ICPC has been approved, which is our understanding is then the state of Florida would be assisting Texas in providing services and also whatever other family assistance is needed once they get involved upon the approval of the ICPC. So we're hoping that will go quickly so that the children can all three go to Mr. Amaya. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and Ms. Grant, I know you don't have a client, so.
I do not, Your Honor. Just to notify the court, there is a pending Attorney General case regarding the baby, and I believe that Miss Ferguson has that information. It was never completed, but through her looking at that case, she did let me know that we don't expect to find an acknowledgement of paternity on record for him because in that case, the Attorney General was, I believe, requesting DNA. So I don't believe that we will locate anything adjudicating him. And if I am able to locate him, we will need to follow that process through with you.
Okay, let me just ask, and it's probably been asked, but Ms. Amaya, do you have any contact with him or have any information about his whereabouts?
The last information I had to him, I gave it to the child support office and I gave it to the social worker. He is a very person that he doesn't have documents. He's undocumented, so he moves a lot. So I don't know. He changes his number a lot. The last time I spoke to him was back in May before all this happened, and then I tried to get a hold of him and I couldn't get a hold of him no more.
All right, just in the event you have any contact with him, if you wouldn't mind to pass along, for him that he has an attorney and that she would very much like to speak with him. You can always give that information to your permanency specialist.
Another thing is that I would not want my child to go with him because all the men that live with him, they drink, they use drugs and stuff like that.
I understand, and that's not. I mean, we wouldn't just automatically place the child without checking things out and doing all that, and so
Yeah, and he's threatened me that if he ever was to get his hands on my child, he would send him to Mexico. And he would go to Mexico with him. And, and that's one thing that scares me. That's what I told the courts too when I filed for child support was that, I did not want him, to have unsupervised visits with my son because of that reason.
Okay.
And, Sergio has stepped up ever since my baby was born. He helped me with my baby with milk, diapers, everything. He's helped me. He's always helped me, when I had my C-section, everything, he was there. He helped me come home from the hospital. He bought my baby everything he needed.
And Your Honor, it might put Miss Amaya's mind at ease if I just explained to her that he's not adjudicated and I won't, as his attorney, be seeking custody of this child without DNA testing and further order from this court. So I didn't want to scare her by my presence and that I was looking for him.
Yeah, because that's
and Grace, I think the court is aware of the situation and I think that we're good. I think the court understands and will he would have to come back to court before he got him, okay?
Yeah, he's gonna have to actively participate and show us that he's stable and would have a
He
good
don't
home.
really even
and-
work. He don't even really work. He works 1-2 days a week and then he drinks the whole other week.
Right, but Grace, right now is not the time for us to take testimony on
Okay.
that, so, okay? Okay.
Okay, but I mean, makes me aware, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay then, Ms. Kincaid,
That's my understanding of the agreement, Your Honor.
and are you good with that?
Yes, Judge, I am.
Okay. All right, and CASA.
I agree with all parties.
All right, thank you, Ms. Levis. Okay, then, today, then I'm going to, follow and approve the agreement that's been reached by the parties who are present. And with respect to Mr. Aquino, let me just ask Ms. Ferguson, does the department really have anything to offer regarding him, or is he just MIA enough that we don't really know anything?
Your Honor, at this time, I'm not aware of any locating information. There is an AG order that was recently, or a case that was recently started, but it was a motion to establish paternity. It never got completed. We don't believe it affects jurisdiction in any way in this case as to the younger child.
Okay.
But we did follow up on the contact information and we haven't been able to locate him.
Very good. Okay. All right, then I will find that the evidence is sufficient to name the Department of Family and Protective Services as the temporary managing conservator of the 3 children that are the subject of our case. I will approve the agreement as has been stated. We will expect parents to work services. There'll be no child support or medical support orders entered in this case at this time. We will do the home study on Mr. Sergio Amaya in Florida. Do we want to initiate, just to rule out, do we want to do genetic testing between Mr. Amaya and the youngest child? Since we know Mr. Maya doesn't think he is the dad, but he's presumed. Do we want to go ahead and just dot that I?
That would clarify matters. And I believe, Mr. Amaya would probably want that clarified as well if child support was ever considered in the future. So.
Okay. So let's go ahead and order genetic testing between Mr. Amaya and the youngest child. I will enter an injunction, a temporary injunction, that will apply to all parties in the case and or placement of the children, that prohibits discussion of the case with the children or making any disparaging remarks about other parties in the case, to the children or within their sphere of awareness. Placement needs to be appropriately admonished about that.
Your Honor, can I speak?
Just give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
All right, the department will make reasonable efforts to reunify the family. We had a hiccup about that, but I don't think it really was a hiccup. So, obviously the department's ordered to do that. I'm finding that it would be a continuing danger to the children to return home at this time. Okay, we'll continue the children's current placements and,
Your Honor, may I request for my client that we go ahead and put in the current order that no access to the child will be granted until he complies with DNA testing and is determined to be the father?
Well, that's fine to just say, let's just put it this way, that there'll be no visitation scheduled between him and any of the children.
Okay. I just didn't want him to get served with that AG thing somehow without us knowing and
Yeah,
suddenly go through with that. So if I have this order, it kind of covers me.
yeah, it just said there'll be no visitation scheduled with him and any of the children until further order of this court.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, okay. Who else was asking?
I was.
Okay, yeah.
On that order, does it also apply that she cannot talk bad about my kids to Sergio because she's been doing it too?
It's not supposed to talk about anybody that's a party to the case.
Okay, thank you.
So I will just ask Ms. Uemana to really admonish placement that's a serious order. And, you know, if she doesn't abide by that and continues, it could mean removing the kids from the home.
Yes, ma'am. I'll tell her.
Because that can be an emotional damage that's hard to undo.
Your Honor, I have a question for the parents, if we could just ask them. The children are listed on the header of the court documents with the mother's family surname. Could we ask the state to change
Yes, we will.
the header? Correct that. Thank you.
So typically the clerk's office can't correct the style of the case, but we will file a supplemental pleading to correct the names of the children for the rest of the case.
That's what I was asking. Thank you.
All right. Okay, then I'll see everybody back for our status hearing. That's set for July 9th of 2025. That'll be on a 9 o'clock docket.
Judge, just to interject real quick, I may be confused, but I thought that Ms. Ferguson already filed a correction to the IDs on May 27th in this case.
It was just
that
a
was only
mom's
to
last
mother.
name.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, thank you. I thought I might be mixed up. Thank you, Judge. Sorry about that.
All right. Mr. Perales, were you able to get all that? Because we had people talking over each other. Okay. See, Valerie, he really is good at what he does.
He's the best.
All right, then if there's no further questions or clarifications needed, then I will see everybody back July 9th. I appreciate everybody's cooperation and logging in. So I hope everybody has a good rest of your afternoon, and I wish parents the best of luck moving forward.
Thank
Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Judge.
Thank you,
Mr.
Judge.
Perales, thank you very much. We'll go ahead and take announcements in.
Pamela Ferguson, attorney for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. I am present and ready with permanency specialist Charlene Uemana and Supervisor Margie Lopez standing in for Supervisor Venice Mincy, all from St. Francis Ministries.
Monica Olivas with CASA, present and ready.
Tracy Riley, I'm appearing for the mother, Grace Amaya, and she is present and ready, Your Honor.
Your Honor, Meredith Graff, appearing for Sergio Amaya, the father of the two older children, and he is present and we are ready. Thank
Your Honor, Stacy Grant for the children.
Ms. Grant, I've got you for the father, Jesus Aquino.
That's correct, Judge. I have the wrong folder. My apologies.
Savannah Kincaid for the children. I'm present ready.
All right. Then let's see. Ms. Uemana, I'm going to look to you for an update.
Hello. The children are doing great. They are not placed with kinship anymore. They're in foster care. Sergio is doing great. He has started daycare He has been on medication to help him sleep. He was having trouble sleeping. The younger two, Gael and Ariel, are also doing great. They are not in daycare, but they're doing great in their placement. And mom has not started her service yet. She has been having trouble getting her services done, finding places for her services. They were having visits every Wednesdays, but mom's schedule continues to change. So we're having trouble getting that to be consistent.
Is it with the same employer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but she doesn't have a predictable schedule.
No, her schedule continues to change every week. And to this week alone, it has changed 2 times.
All right, any suggestions, or is there anything we can do about that?
I have spoken to my supervisors and some of the colleagues, and they've told me that I could write a letter to give to her, so she can give to her boss. That way they know that she has a set schedule to see her kids on the certain day. That way she would have that day off, or she would have that time off so she can have her visits with the children.
All right, let's try it. I mean, we don't have any authority to make the employer, do that, but let's try that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then is she just having difficulty setting up or finding providers, or I mean, I guess I'm not clear when you said she's having trouble getting services done.
She's having trouble finding providers in Bovina because it is a small town. And I've asked if she's looked into the neighbor towns like Fiona and Hereford, and she said that she has not been able to find any either. So the only providers that I know we can help her with is here in Amarillo.
Does she have transportation?
She does not have transportation from what she told me. She told me her sister has helped her go from places, but she does not have her own transportation.
Do we have a counselor that's in that area?
Not that I know of, ma'am.
Well, we've had other parents do some services, I think, in Lubbock, and some maybe even in Hereford.
And Your Honor, we have counselors who can see people online. It's not ideal, but I think St. Francis can check into that.
Yeah, Ms. Lopez. I mean, I guess my feeling is, I mean, the impetus is somewhat on St. Francis to tell her who the providers are going to be.
Absolutely. We will work at locating at least some virtual services for her, because there are parenting classes that can be done virtually, some therapy that can be done virtually. So we will definitely work on setting up some services for her that will be virtual.
Okay. I mean, and I don't think it falls completely on her shoulders to locate those providers. I mean, they're contracted through St. Francis, so sounds like we need to get involved pretty quickly to start finding those. All right, Miss Uwimanoff, what about, I mean, anything else with respect to mom or the children?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did she sign her service plan?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, then what about Mr. Amaya?
I have been, due to the language barrier, I have not been able to get in contact with him. But I have talked to the other father who has reached out, and he has said that he's not the father of the young child and that he does not know who Grace is or the child is.
So Mr. Aquino is who you're referring to?
I believe yes, or Mr. Perez.
Well, yeah, Jesus Perez Aquino. Okay. All
Yes,
right. Does he understand he has the right to request genetic testing?
Yes, ma'am. I also have sent him Miss Grant's phone number and email. That way he could contact her. And that he does have the right to get, he also asked for a DNA test, and I said that he does have the right to get a DNA test done.
Okay. All right. Okay, and so you've had no contact then with Mr. Amaya?
No, ma'am. I've tried, because of the language barrier, I wasn't able to.
Are we not using still like the language line to try to talk with?
I did not have the number for the language line yet, but I have received it and I will get in contact with him.
Okay. Has he signed a service plan, or has anybody gone over that with him?
No, ma'am.
Has the service plan been created?
Not yet.
Okay. Ms. Ferguson, you need to talk to your folks?
Yes, Your Honor. Actually, can I have a breakout room with my people right now?
Yeah.
Judge,
I'm sorry, did somebody address me?
I would like to speak to my attorney. I don't know if I can speak to her in private.
Sure. Yeah, I can put you in a breakout room with her.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, got everybody out of breakout rooms now.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. All right.
So, Your Honor, I do have an announcement for the department. Or I want to add to what my client said.
Certainly. Go right ahead.
The department will be getting with Grace Kupiana Maya to work with her on setting up services. Some of those services will be virtual. It will include individual therapy and potentially family and couples therapy if recommended. We do anticipate couples therapy may be recommended at some point, but we want her to start out with individual therapy. We'll be working with her to find a therapist. We'll be asking her to do parenting. And the other services, I believe there have already been services we've gone over with her on her service plan. We'll be asking her to do all of those services. We'll be setting up a more specific service plan with her. And so I just wanted to let all the parties know that we will be working with her to find services. As far as the father, Sergio Amaya Marquez goes, we will also be working with him to find services. Those services will likely be virtual since that's the best that we can do with him in Florida. We will be looking to get individual therapy set up, and then if recommended, couples therapy, family therapy if recommended. We'll be looking for some type of parenting classes for him. And we would ask that he maintains stable housing and stable employment for the duration of the case. Also, we would be asking for the court to order or to allow it. We would be asking him to take a drug test prior to any reunification with the children. And we would want to see that as a negative result before the children would be returned to his home. Also, if a positive result on a drug test did come back, we would be asking for a drug assessment and any follow-up treatment that's recommended. And as far as the father, Mr. Jesus Perez Aquino, he is asked to establish paternity. So we are asking the court today to order a DNA test for him.
Your Honor, my client agrees to a DNA test, so we were just waiting our turn to speak in order to request the same.
And then in addition to that, we would also be asking for any services to work towards reunification. If he did want to be reunified with his child after the DNA test comes back, we would be asking for him also to do individual therapy just for us to get a baseline and some parenting classes. We would also be asking for a drug test prior to any reunification. And then if that drug test came back positive, we would be asking for a drug assessment and any recommendations to be followed from that.
And Your Honor, we would object to any drug testing or any other services to be approved or ordered at this time, pending the genetic testing, and will request a second hearing prior to any order of any service plan due to my client potentially being a non-offending parent with an unknown child.
Your Honor, I would respond to that a parent who has been absent from the child's life is not necessarily a non-offending parent. That is a parent who's made a choice. And we would be asking him to do these services to, help with his relationship with the child's mother and also to ease him into parenting.
Your Honor, our request is for a hearing prior to anything. It's not to argue it today.
Well, and I don't know what the facts are that whether I don't know how long he's known about the child. I mean,
yeah, and I don't either, Judge. That's why I was requesting a hearing. I don't really have the facts of any separation that may have occurred, and I didn't want to burden the court with the argument today until I had the genetic test to determine it was necessary. Obviously, he would agree to a service plan. I would just want to discuss with Ms. Ferguson what those services would be once I get the background facts as far as how he was separated from the mother and the child.
And Your Honor, we are just asking for the service plan to be ordered as it would be for any alleged parent.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're at a status hearing, so I mean, this is the time where we, should have service plans filed. And Ms. Ferguson, do you need clarification on that?
Your Honor, we are announcing the services today. We're asking the court to make the order based on our announcement, but we will be following up with getting the service plans filed.
And Your Honor, we object to any service plan being announced verbally in court, especially in a court where there's a language barrier between myself and my client. My client has not had a meeting with his caseworker regarding a service plan. The caseworker has indicated there's a language barrier for her where she's unable to communicate. And any order of a service plan under these circumstances, Your Honor, would be unjust to my client.
Your Honor, I hate to jump in here, but I think it's necessary. I would say that my client is in the same situation. There's been absolutely no contact between St. Francis and my client, and he is very easily available by email. We have been corresponding. I use a Google Translate, and I recopy the Spanish that I want him to know from the English. And we've had correspondence every single week since this case started. So there's absolutely no excuse. And I'm certain that St. Francis has people who speak Spanish who could have reached out to him. And this is frankly not reasonable efforts in any way, shape, or form on the part of St. Francis to communicate with his father of 2 children in this case. And furthermore, he's had no information about any services. I'm sure that he would be agree to do services, but what we're waiting to hear today is about the ICPC, and we've heard nothing about whether or not that application has even been submitted to Florida. So there's a lot of lapses that have happened, and we're very, very, very concerned. The children have been recently moved in an emergency removal. My client was not notified before that happened. He was not offered to take the children. My client is not an offending parent. They have nothing. I mean, they're asking for drug tests. They have no proof that my client is a drug user. And so all of this is very disturbing to me, to come to court today and find out the social worker has not even attempted in any way, shape, or form to reach out to my client. And now they want to order services without even talking to him. So we really would appreciate the court.
Well,
Your Honor, can I just, at this moment, can I make a motion to continue the status hearings and reset
bingo.
it?
Exactly. We're just going to recess the hearing.
And Your Honor, just to make my record, I object to any continuation or reset, as these children were removed in May, and the department and the social worker has had ample time to do their job, and they failed to do their job.
We would object as well, Judge, and just to briefly be heard, for my client, the children were removed from kinship. We still don't know why. Or what happened. And I realize that there are some limitations as to what they can tell us, but my client doesn't know why her children were removed from kinship. And she had requested that that an ICPC be done. The court had ordered that be done at the last court date, and ordered that it be expedited, so that, because he was willing to not only take the 2 children that are biologically his, but the 3rd child as well, if that were deemed an appropriate placement. And that is something that Ms. Amaya is definitely in favor of. And so she is definitely disheartened that did not happen. She also, though, has been trying to get services, has called my office probably more often than any other client I have, trying to get services done and trying to figure out what she can do to get her kids back. And she's just out of resources, Judge. And I don't think that between her work schedule, which did change twice this week only because someone quit, and so her boss just changed her schedule. And she's in a position where she can either tell the agency, I can't make it to the visit, or she loses her job. And she has to work a job in order to get a place to live so that she can get her kids back. And so, Judge, we're again, I understand why the court is ordering a continuance, but we're objecting as well, because I don't think there's been reasonable efforts on the part of the department for my client either.
I want to know.
Your Honor, may I add one more fact that may be relevant for the court's decision? St. Francis employs a Spanish-speaking licensed professional counselor themselves, and he is readily available. He works in Palmer County virtually. He works in Floyd County virtually, and he's their employee. He's readily available to provide these services to our Spanish-speaking clients. And so I'm not sure the delay in at least starting the therapy or the counseling or giving her that service provider when he's an employee of St. Francis.
Your Honor, I would ask for the name of that person. I'm not aware of anybody as a counselor being employed by St. Francis.
1 second, and I'll get it for you, Pam. I'll chat it to you.
I mean, is it somebody they contract with? When you say employee, I mean, you mean they contract with him?
Here's my understanding, and I'll get the name just in a second, Your Honor. We just finished a week-long trial with Ms. Mullinax out of Dallam County, and he was one of our witnesses. He testified that he is contracted to St. Francis, and he regularly works with all of their clients, and he offices in the same location so that he's readily available. But let me get a name so that Ms. Ferguson's not at a disadvantage to check into it.
Yeah, I'd love to check into it. I'm not sure he's actually employed by St. Francis, but probably contracted for sure.
Okay. And I would not argue that with you, Ms. Ferguson, if that's the arrangement. Let me get a name so that so that you can follow up if you'd like to.
Thank you. And Judge Baker and parties, I would just address that the ICPC was ordered and the order was signed in June. It is underway. All the paperwork and the process is underway. We'll come back at the next hearing with a very specific outline for that. And as far as the children being moved from kinship, the department did file an affidavit and a notice of movement of placement, and we did outline the reasons for that in what we filed.
And I'm sure that you did. I don't have that, Judge, and I have been having a hard time getting notices from some of the outer counties, so I don't show that I got that. I don't know if any of the other attorneys got that.
I did, so that it wouldn't be a surprise to everybody. I did also follow it up with an email to all the attorneys. But let me just make sure, maybe I left somebody off.
Can you just give me what was the basis of moving the children?
Your Honor, I mean, if you don't mind, I'll step in here for a second. Last week, Miss Olivas with CASA reached out to me. She was really concerned, very concerned about the current placement of the children. Basically, grandma was overwhelmed. We had already moved the older child because she was overwhelmed by him. He has some additional needs, but she planned to travel to Mexico, and I wasn't sure if it was for a weekend or if it was for 4 weeks. I think it was 4 weeks, and she did not intend to take the children with her. And she lives with a gentleman who's not the grandfather and does not want to care for the children. She did not want to take the children to Mexico, and she did not want the children placed with her anymore. And she was pretty insistent about that. And given the circumstances and the conditions of the home and her unwillingness to talk with Miss Olivas or allow Miss Olivas to see the children, that's kind of what resulted in the children being moved. Well, that is what resulted in it.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds like that was inevitable and unavoidable.
That's what I believe, Your Honor. And I appreciate Monica so much for reaching out and us getting that done quickly and safely.
All right. Are the children all together again?
No, they're not.
Okay. The two are together?
2 are in Amarillo at a foster placement, and the older is in Houston.
Okay. All right. Well, we are going to recess the hearing. We're going to pick a date to resume that. But service plans need to be gone over with each of these parents that we have contact with. And it sounds like we now have had contact with all of them. And, obviously filed before we conclude the status hearing. So I'm not going to make any decisions about any services or anything else at this point in time. I will say that it's fairly standard procedure at some point in time, even with a non-offending parent, that we may want a drug screen just to make sure we don't have a problem. Just because they're non-offending doesn't necessarily mean we know very much about them. In fact, most of the time, they're not offending because maybe they haven't been much in the picture and we don't know anything about them. So I think you can anticipate that when we get service plans prepared and gone over, that's going to be a request. If we have initial negative drug screens, we may not have anything to be concerned about, but it's obviously a big thing that we need to know about. So when you talk with your clients about this, I think you might as well prepare them that that's probably going to happen at least once.
Your Honor, the name of the licensed personal counselor who is a Spanish-speaking provider is Jorge Ibarra, LPC.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
You're welcome.
Ms. Katie, we need to look at a date to resume this. The sooner, the better. Obviously.
Your Honor, while she's looking, I have a question about the language line that Your Honor mentioned a bit ago. I was not aware that there was a language line here in Texas that we could use as parents' attorneys, and
it isn't available. It's not available to you.
Okay.
It's somebody that the department contracts with. So
I see.
If you have effective communication the way you are doing it now, it's fine. If you need to engage the services of an interpreter, you can certainly do that, and I'll submit those bills to the county.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah.
And Ms. Graff, my office has Spanish speaking ability with my client, and you're always welcome if you need immediate assistance to contact Adriana in my office to help in this case.
Okay. Thank you so much, Stacy. I appreciate it.
Sure, no problem. And Judge, with both fathers requesting genetic testing in this case, I did notice there's a visitation plan scheduled. Is that visitation plan still in effect, even though genetic testing has been requested by both fathers?
Ms. Ferguson?
Your Honor, that's another thing that we'll be revising. I mean,
Okay.
obviously, Mr. Amaya Marquez has basically said that he doesn't believe that the test would come back and show him as the father of the child. However, he does want a relationship with the child. So I think we can evaluate that for visitation for him. And as far as Mr. Perez Aquino, he is an alleged father to the child. And so,
We're talking about the youngest child.
Yes,
Yes.
Judge.
Yeah.
So I can just hold off on that question, Judge, until we reconvene on the date Miss Katie finds for us.
All right, so nothing's set in stone until it is. Okay, so July 17th at 9 or June 23rd at 1.
so Your Honor, I am in a full day docket in Yoakum and Palmer County on July 17th. But I am available on the 23rd.
Wait, June 23rd, you mean July 23rd? She typed in June, but yeah.
Or we can all go back in time, which is good for me.
I would love that. Can we go further though?
Yeah,
Good.
I would be good with June 23rd. Sounds really good to me.
1989.
All right, everybody slow down. Remember, Mr. Perales is interpreting.
All right. I can do July 23rd, Judge, but I have a 1:30, so but that's just a PNC, so I could be at the courthouse and just check in really quickly on as to that and then come back.
Okay.
I'm available on the 23rd, Your Honor.
I'm available.
Ms. Kincaid, I didn't hear you if you chimed in.
I can do the 23rd, the 17th. I'm not available, so that would be me.
23rd it is at promptly at 1 o'clock. Mr. Perales indicates he's good for that as well. All right, then. Folks, these cases are not easy. When we have people all over the country and we have language barriers, you know, I bet I clearly expect St. Francis to step it up because, you know, it's our job to provide these services to parents. It's not their job necessarily to go out and look for them unless they're out of state. And so I'm going to just register my quick disappointment in the turn that this has taken. Everybody just beware. This case is going to require more of your time because they just do. So let's don't have a breakdown like this again. We need to be working actively with these parents. Yeah, they're showing up to hearings, so they're interested enough in these children that they're here, and you know they're wanting to participate. So anyway, I expect we'll have all of this resolved when we get back together on July 23rd. All right, then we're just going to be in recess, and I'm not making any orders today about anything.
Your Honor, can I speak?
Yes, ma'am.
I've only had one visit with Sergio, my son, ever since he was placed in Houston. And it was a virtual visit, and it was really quick. And Charlene told me I could not speak Spanish with my child, and that's my child's language. That's the first language he's ever known in Spanish.
Oh, that's probably
And I
because
did advise Charlene, I felt like I was being racially slandered because that is our language.
Judge, I've explained to my client that the necessity to have a Spanish-speaking observer then, and my understanding was that the department had taken care of that and was going to make sure that at her next virtual visit there was a Spanish-speaking observer present so that there would not be that issue, because certainly my understanding was they didn't have a problem with her speaking Spanish, just that the person that was there wasn't able to understand what was going on. So if that hasn't happened, that's news to me, and that's unfortunate because I do think that's the remedy for that.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
And Your Honor, I do, if it would help, same Dallum case that we just finished a 2-week long jury trial on, or 1 week, I'm sorry. There is a Spanish speaking observer. And if Ms. Ferguson would like that name, I can also send it over. And he is located in an area where he can service Palmer as well. Palmer, Floyd, he does all the outlying areas, Your Honor, if that would be helpful.
Thank you, Stacy.
So Ms. Amaya, there was no hidden agenda about that. They just didn't have it set up for someone who was Spanish speaking to monitor your visit. So, you know, nobody's, you know, there's no, nobody's trying to discriminate. Nobody's trying to put you at a disadvantage. It isn't that. It's just, it obviously was something that wasn't addressed in advance, so they didn't know that they needed that, but we do now, and that will happen now.
And like, Your Honor, like I've only had one visit with my son virtually, and it was a quick visit. I have not had another one with my son, with Sergio.
Okay,
Charlene
but-
said that she was gonna get, so Sergio could have visits with his son, and he hasn't had any with the kids either, not even virtually.
Okay, so it's the same deal. I mean, Ms. Lopez, you're the supervisor, so I'm gonna direct this to you. We need to step it up. All right, we will be in recess. I'll see you back July 23rd at 1 o'clock. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Cross.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Judge. And Ms. Ferguson, I put the supervisor for visitation that spoke Spanish for us was Danny Madrigal, and I put that in your chat.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Judge, could I just tell Charlene that if they get a service plan ready prior to the 23rd, I would be happy to set a meeting and time to go over it in advance to make our next hearing go quickly.
That would be greatly appreciated, yes.
Okay, and I'll go over it with my client.
I would
That needs-
appreciate them including me in that as well for my
Yes.
client.
We
And
can all
that's
set up
just-
a meeting through my office, and myself and Ms. Graff and both fathers could possibly go over those in advance of our next hearing.
However
Ms.
you
Graff
all-
will-
However you all want to handle it is great, but the minute those service plans are prepared, I want them to go out to the attorneys so they have ample time to go over those with their clients in advance of the hearing.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Graff, my office will get with you to include you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Judge, I had the previous hearing.
Your Honor, is there a way for me to have a breakout room?
Who do you need it with?
Just the attorneys.
All right.
I'm
let me-
trying to decide how quick we need to be or not.
Okay, let me set them up, Richard, and I'll get them in there, and then you and I can continue to try to establish contact with them.
Judge, we've had no update to any communication from Mr. Aquino, Jesus Aquino.
Okay. All right, so attorneys room 1, and then we'll work on our interpretation situation.
And actually, can Peyton Sim join us as well? Just in case attorneys have questions.
Okay, just a minute.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Okay, Ms. Riley, you need to select your language again.
Yes, I'm so sorry. Instead of leaving the room, I left the whole thing.
That's fine.
But I am good to go.
All right, let's just
Thank you,
double
Judge.
check. Everybody can hear? That's on English channel? Right. All right, at this time, then I will recall cause number. We are here to return on our status hearing that was recessed back on July 9th of 2025. Since we're here on a new day, we're going to go ahead and take announcements again. We are conducting this through Zoom. We are live streaming, and Ms. Taylor is making our record. All right, Ms. Ferguson, if you want to start.
Pamela Ferguson, attorney representing the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. I'm present and ready with case or permanency specialist Peyton Sim and Supervisor Marvell Collins standing in for Supervisor Venice Mincy, all from St. Francis Ministries. And Peyton Sim will be the new caseworker on this case.
Stacy Grant, on behalf of Jesus Aquino. Your Honor, my client is not located here and probably will not appear until he has completed the paternity test. However, he has been in touch with Peyton Sims so that we can get that started.
Okay.
Tracy Riley appearing for Grace Amaya, the mother in this case, Judge, and I am present and ready, so is my client, and we're ready to proceed.
Meredith Graff appearing for Sergio Amaya Marquez, and we are ready to proceed. Thank you.
Savannah Kincaid on behalf of the children.
Monica Olivas with CASA, present and ready.
All right. Thank y'all. All right, let's pick up where we left off. So, Ms. Sim, I know you're small disadvantage, but I'm assuming you've been brought up to speed. So, we had, where do we stand with, excuse me, with service plans and then anything else new that's occurred since we were last together on July 9th?
Okay, so since I got the case, I have filed ICPCs for all three of the children to go with Sergio in Florida. I have also completed Jesus's, Sergio, and Grace's family plans of service. Sergio and Grace have signed those, and those have been e-filed. Jesus, he has a worker or a local permanency specialist in Corpus Christi that's going to see him monthly and help set up services. I have requested virtual visits between Sergio and all three children, and those are occurring every Friday. I've requested virtual visits with Grace and Sergio since distance, and those are occurring every Friday. I have also requested in-person visits between Grace, ADL, and Gail, and currently I'm supervising those, but we have a Spanish-speaking HST who will be supervising those in the future whenever he gets them scheduled. As far as the kids go, since the last court hearing happened, I found out that ADL has a condition called torticollis. And this is where the throat muscle contracts and causes the head to turn one way the majority of the time. And Gail has a heart murmur and will be seeing a cardiologist very soon.
Was this something that was discovered, as far as Gail, was that discovered at the time the child was born? Or is this just now being discovered?
I am not sure. I contacted the foster parent to introduce myself, and he let me know that when the kids moved in the home with him, that they didn't know they had a cardiologist appointment for this murmur. So I'm really not sure, Judge.
Okay.
May I speak?
Who is that?
Grace, Amaya,
ma'am.
can I speak? Yes, Gail has had the heart murmur since he was born. He was born with a very tiny piece of heart. He has gone to cardiology, basically all his life.
Okay. I had a feeling that probably was the case, but thank you. Okay.
You're welcome. It's a VSD.
Okay, Ms. Sim, anything further?
I don't think so. I think that was pretty much all I did since the court occurred last.
All right. So, no, two of the children are placed together, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Gail and Sergio were placed together.
Gail and ADL.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. And they are with a relative?
No, they are at a foster home.
All right. And Sergio is in a different foster home.
Yes, in Houston.
All right. And where is mom living at this time?
Bovina,
Okay.
Texas.
All right. Okay, then, Ms. Riley, any questions for Ms. Sim or anything to add today?
No, Judge, I think things have we've had I'm like, not 360, but 180, I guess would be correct turnaround from where we were at last time. I know that Grace has signed her family plan. She's working on starting some of those services, but visits are going better and we're great. So we really appreciate everything that Peyton did to get things up and running.
Okay, Ms. Groff.
I would echo, Your Honor, what Ms. Riley said. We really, really appreciate Ms. Sim and what she's done since she came on this case. I understand that when she came on the case, the ICPC had not been sent to Florida, but it has now, and we really appreciate her speedy resolution of a lot of the issues, getting the service plans for the fathers or Mr. and as far as Mr. Aquino, we don't know yet, but getting those done anyway, getting a visitation plan, and getting everything ready for this resumption of the hearing. It's just made such a difference, and I do appreciate that she's going to communicate with my client and help him get anything he needs to do in Florida, which I'm sure will be the drug test the court has ordered. I understand most of the other things will be virtual, which will be really great for him because he can work that through his devices and not have to travel. And the department is going to pay for it, and we appreciate that very much. So I think we're good as far as where we're at right now, and we just have to say again, we just appreciate Peyton so much.
All right.
I'll pass.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Grant?
Pretty much the same thing to say, Judge. Peyton always has been, always will be one of the better workers that we work with. That we appreciate all the workers, but Peyton is very efficient in her job. I was able to get the referrals that we discussed at the last meeting over to Ms. Ferguson, and they were able to use some of those. And Mr. Madrigal is very effective with making sure visits happen. He's very dependable. So I think that will save Miss Sim some time in having to do those visits herself. So as soon as Mr. Aquino presents himself for the Judge, the genetic testing, which Miss Sim is scheduling, and then we will wait for that result. He claims, Your Honor, never to have visited Amarillo and not to be the father. So we'll see how that pans out. He's, we've heard that before, and then we've gotten confirmation testing. So I don't want Miss Amaya to take that personal in any way. Sometimes that happens.
I have a question for you, Stacy. Did you hear? His dad, the baby's dad, has never lived in Corpus Christi. He's always lived in Dallas or Louisville, Texas. That's where he usually hides around those areas. He never has.
And we are verifying, Your Honor, that we have the correct Jesus Aquino, and we are very aware that there could be two gentlemen with the same name. And so if this gentleman is ruled out, we will continue to ensure that we've tested the right person through some type of identification or something like that. But thank you, Ms. Amaya, for that information. We're keeping that on our radar.
He's 37 years old. The baby daddy's 37 years old. That should help y'all a lot too.
That would help too, yes. And if you think of anything else, feel free to let Miss Riley know and she can email it to me.
I haven't heard anything of him anymore, like I said.
Okay.
In a couple of months.
Okay, well, I just want to assure you, we are keeping it on our radar that we could have the wrong person. And that if we do, we'll continue to do our work.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. You're welcome.
Quick question in that regard. Does Ms. Amaya have, or have we seen a photo of who we're talking about?
I have only one photo of him and the baby together. I could probably send it over to Miss Riley.
That would be most helpful if you would do that. And then perhaps.
That'd be great, and I'll forward it on.
Yeah, because I had told Charlene about it, and Charlene said that a photo wasn't necessary because they already knew who he was.
Well, if you've got one, let's take a look at it.
Okay.
And Grace, do you know his birth date?
I don't know his birthday. Okay. I do know he's 37 years old. That's what I know.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Maya.
Thank you.
Okay, then, Ms. Kincaid.
Nothing to add, Your Honor. It seems like we're on the right track at this point. So I don't have anything to add to the hearing today.
Okay, any recommendation about the children today?
Just to continue the department as temporary managing conservator. I hope that we can get that ICPC done as expeditiously as they're going to do it. And hopefully we get some good results from that.
Okay, and CASA.
The same as Mrs. Kincaid. I hope everything goes. It's been a lot more smoother than before. And hopefully we can get these kids with Mr. Sergio.
Okay. So for today, I'll continue the department as temporary managing conservator, and I'm going to continue the children's current placements. I'm going to make a finding that there would be a continuing danger to return the children home at this time. Sounds like we are on the right path now. I'm going to order the service plans as an order of the court today. But I need to inform parents about some things concerning those service plans. I'm going to go a little slow, so Mr. Perales has an opportunity to translate this if his client has any, or excuse me, if Mr. Maya has any questions. This is going to be confusing. So, until September 1st of 2025, the law is that failure to work your service plans could result in termination of your parental rights. So if you don't work the services, your rights could be terminated. Meaning, obviously, that the children would not go home to any parent whose rights were terminated. There's a change in the law that will be effective on September 1st of this year. After September 1st of this year, it's no longer a basis to terminate your parental rights if you fail to work your services. So although it may not be a basis to terminate your parental rights independently, I will just tell you that failure to work those services could potentially affect or restrict your parental rights and duties as a parent in any final order. So whether or not you work your service plans can be a factor and can be considered at trial. And working those services is a way for you to demonstrate to the court that you have made the necessary changes for you and your children. So although if you don't work your services or you don't complete your service plan, I can't terminate your rights on that basis. It's still very much going to play into a final decision that I might have to make in this case. So I don't want anybody to think that just because it's not grounds for termination that it doesn't matter. They're still very important, and it's still very important for us to see progress and changes. And the way you do that is by working through those service plans. So if I've completely confused anybody, I am happy to take any question about that right now. Okay, for the attorneys, that's probably the worst legislative update you've ever heard. Okay. So because we are prior to September 1st, I'm going to order the service plans as an order of the court today. And I am admonishing you that if this case happened to go to trial before September 1st of this year, those are going to be a factor for termination grounds. it's highly unlikely this case would go to trial before September 1st. So I think you all will be, when we go to trial, it will be under the new law. Okay,
Judge, you did just trigger one question for me.
sure.
So sometimes the legislative updates, the date of the filing of the case indicates which law we're under. But in this legislative update, it's the date of trial commencement that determines which law we're under.
For section 161.001,
Okay.
it is not the date we filed. It is
Date of trial. Okay. Thank you, Judge.
Yeah. September 1, everything's under the new law. If it hasn't gone to trial, it's going to be under the new law. I think if a case gets de novoed, if there was a final order prior to September 1 and it's de novoed after September 1, I think the interpretation is it will be under the new law.
So August 3rd to September you may see a lot of motions and de novos.
We don't know what we're going to see.
Is this a legislative effort to keep parental rights in place and child support and keep things? I mean, we can talk offline. I'll have to
think
do
the
some
answer
research.
is yes to all of that. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, then. I will see everyone back on November 12th of 2025 for our initial permanency hearing. That'll be on a 9 o'clock docket. Hope will be way down the road, maybe towards this ICPC. Ms. Groff, is your client aware that these can take quite some time?
Well, yes, Your Honor, I have told him that on more than one occasion, but I know that parents get very anxious nevertheless, and I know he is very anxious to get his boys, sent to him. And so I'll just remind him again in court with Mr. Perales translating for me. This is always a slow process, and some states are slower than others. I don't know how slow Florida is, but I've worked with some states, drag their feet for 6 months. And so, just patience, hang in there, do your services, because, that's what you can do right now to move this forward. And so use the time you have, because when those boys are sent to your house, you are going to be very busy. So hang in there and have patience.
All right. Okay, I appreciate all of you reconvening today, and special thanks to Ms. Sim for jumping in and sort of riding the ship. So I really, really appreciate all your efforts. I know it's never easy to walk into, something, and so I really appreciate it. All right, then, we'll go ahead and I'll look for the order and I'll sign that when we get it. And I'll see everybody back November 12th.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Perales. Thank you so much, Mr. Perales.
Yay.
Good morning, Miss Tracy.
Hi, Grace. How are you?
Good, and you?
Good.
Morning. How's everybody?
Good morning.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning. Good morning, Judge.
Let's see. Well, let me see if you're here for the dad today. He may not even.
No, I'm here for the I'm here for the father, and he's trying to log in. I've sent him the link like 4 times, so hopefully he'll be able to get in.
Right. No, I was talking to the interpreter. I was just identifying.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. She's here to interpret for the father. So we'll wait till if we see him to enable the interpretation feature and do all that. Okay. Probably walk him through what to do. I've got someone else logged in under your name. That may be him.
It might be him, and he doesn't know how to change the name.
I can change the name, but Ms. Nunez, if you can see if this is Mr. Amaya, that's if he can unmute and or turn on his video.
Señora Maya, si usted está conectado, ¿podría usted, por favor, identificarse?
We are conducting this through Zoom under a finding of good cause and agreement of the parties. We are live streaming, and Ms. Taylor is making our record. All right, Ms. Nunez is interpreting for us today on behalf of the father, Sergio Amaya, who is present with his attorney, Meredith Graff. Amber Rich is present for the Department of Family and Protective Services. Tracy Riley is present on behalf of the mother, Grace Campion, who is also present. And Ms. Grant is present on behalf of another alleged father, actually presumed father, my apologies, Jesus Aquino. I have not seen Mr. Aquino this morning. Ms. Grant, are you expecting your client?
Your Honor, I have not gotten a reply from him. He is not in Amarillo. He's at a Corpus Christi address, and I have not had contact.
Okay.
And Your Honor, I apologize. Every time I try to do anything, I keep getting kicked out, so I'm trying to get a better connection.
Okay, just why don't you leave your video off, and hopefully maybe that'll help.
Okay, even when I did interpretation, it disconnected me, so I'll try to be brief.
Okay. All right, and Ms. Kincaid is present on behalf of the children. And none of the children are present today. CASA is present, also on behalf of the children, Ms. Olivas. Okay, then let's see, is Ms. Sim, are you going to give us the update today?
Yes, Judge.
All right, Ms. Sim, if you'll raise your right hand for me. You promise to tell us the truth today?
Yes.
Okay. All right, you can go ahead and tell us what's new in the case.
All right. We will start with the kids. Sergio is still in his same placement down in Houston. He's doing well there. He is safe and stable. However, we've recently had to get him a one-on-one caregiver. It helps him just have more direct care. He's having issues with being overstimulated in placement, and this can cause him to sing song very loudly all day. He needs to keep his hands busy. He needs to make sure that he's not playing with his feces and things like that, which since doing the one-on-one caregiver, we've had an amazing turnaround for him. So we will continue to do that. He does receive an individual education plan through the school. They are supposed to be moving him classrooms soon for that IEP, but they haven't yet. And again, that is for the lower stimulation setting with keeping his hands busy so he can focus and start learning. He was having issues sleeping for a while where he would just wake up ready to go for the day in the middle of the night. And he has been put on medications for that. However, the medications are being monitored on a monthly basis, and he's had no adverse reactions thus far. Gael is with his brother ADL in placement here in Amarillo. He's doing extremely well. He's identifying different objects, fruits, dinosaurs, fish, dogs, and he's being caught up developmentally. He is going to start kind of a Head Start program for developmental learning and things like that, but he's not super far behind at all, and he's doing really well. ADL is in that same placement with Gael. He is also growing, and he's starting to walk, and he's just a funny little kid. But they're all three doing well in their placements. They all three see each other when they have visits with their mom and dads on Fridays. And they are very young, and those visits are virtual, so there's not a ton of interaction, but we are trying our best to keep that relationship up with all three of them. Jesus Aquino, I think we got the paternity back on him, and he was rolled out as the father. I think we just got those back at the end of last week.
Okay, so he showed up, he tested, and we've got him back.
Yes.
Okay. Are you 100% sure of the results of those? Do you have those where you can look at them?
Let me look at them real quick. Probability of paternity is 0%. And that's between ADL and Jesus Aquino.
Okay. He was only alleged of ADL. So, Ms. Grant, that being the case, then I'm going to dismiss him from the suit, and we will dismiss you from your representation. You can submit us a final bill.
Okay.
And you can go on your merry way.
Thank you, Judge. And
Okay.
if Miss Sim could send me a copy of that test, I would mail it to my client for his records.
Yes, I will do so right now.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good day.
Okay. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I will continue to look for another Jesus Aquino. I just don't have any information on who he is. And I think obviously we got the wrong one. So, I mean, I've been looking on Facebook. I don't have a date of birth or phone number or an address or anything. And I think Grace has been trying to help me on that, but she also doesn't have much on him. As far as Sergio the father,
is it mom's position that Mr. Amaya is absolutely or could not be the father?
I'm not sure.
Mr. Amaya is not the father, and that is very well known because we weren't together.
All right. So, at a minimum, we still are going to have an unknown father in the case.
Also, Judge, I've been also been looking with other family members of his, but nobody tells me anything.
Okay. All you can do is keep trying.
Okay, Judge.
I mean, if we could get any specific information on him, a birth date, anything like that, that would help us. But you're confident that was his name?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Miss Katie, will you reach out to Ms. Grant and tell her maybe that was premature, that she may not be dismissed yet?
Yes, ma'am.
That it's not the one fellow, but we've still got that mom still thinks that's his name and that it's just a different person. So just let her know.
Because the address where he was living at in Dallas, Judge, he's not there no more. We've gone to look for him there and he's not there no more.
Okay. So, Miss Katie, if you'll just take care of that and let her know that we're going to leave her in the case right now, still for a Jesus Perez Aquino, but different. Obviously, it'll be a different person we're looking for. Okay. All right. So, Miss Sam, go ahead and resume with your information. I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Sergio the father, he's currently in Florida. He has been really great at communication and letting me know when he needs something. I did try to get him off his services out of Texas to make it maybe a little easier, but some providers won't operate outside of the state, and that's where we've had some issues. But talking to his attorney and Grace, it looks like he's going to be trying to move to Texas sooner rather than later. And once he gets here, he is ready to hit the ground running. He has started parenting classes virtually, Spanish, and those were approved by us. And he attends every single visit, and he does really well in those visits. It's just getting him here and getting those providers for him, because it's my understanding that he wants the kids with him.
Okay. Did you get all that, Miss Taylor? You were breaking up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Why don't you say that again just to make sure we got it all?
Okay. He is living in Florida. He has tried to get with the providers from Texas that I put on his family plan, but most of those providers will not operate outside of the state. And so he's had some trouble getting providers in Florida that can help him accomplish his family plan. So he does plan on moving to Texas and is ready to hit the ground running on his services.
You get it, Miss Taylor? Okay. It's breaking up. It's real kind of staticky almost.
I'm sorry.
All right. Anything else, Miss Sim?
And then Grace. Grace has been doing extremely well. She is in consistent contact with me. She's always asking me how to accomplish things when sometimes she can't get a hold of someone or she's having issues with providers. And we've been able to set her up in therapy with a virtual provider named Naomi. And she's been participating in that. She also started her parenting classes virtually and approved by us. She has attended every visit and she does really well in those visits. She has had a few in-person visits at the beginning of the case, and we did another one last month for one of the kids' birthdays, and we will be doing another one on the 18th of this month for another birthday. She has initiated her rational behavior therapy, and overall, she's just doing really well. She's still employed. She did move houses, but that house is stable and appropriate. And at this time, I think we're going in a really good direction.
The goal is still reunification.
Yes.
Okay. All right, Ms. Riley.
I don't have anything, Judge. I think everything's been said at all. I think Grace is doing really a great job.
All right, and Ms. Graff.
So, Your Honor, I was able to talk to my client this last week, and I think he and Ms. Amaya are doing the parenting classes together online. They're in Spanish, and I just heard those were approved, which I thought was the case, but now I know for sure. My client did tell me he's going to be moving to Texas right after Thanksgiving, so it'll be sometime around the first week in December. If there's any kind of a glitch, it might be a little bit later, but not later than the middle of December. So we're really on a fast track to get him here. He told me he's going to be moving to Bovina and will reside with Ms. Amaya temporarily until he gets a job here and also gets a place of his own. But they intend to live close together so that they can co-parent. And they've already been talking about a co-parenting plan of like 3 days, and then alternating weekend day. And it sounds like they're just doing great in their communication with each other, and the possibility of co-parenting going forward, even after this case is over, is very, very positive. So I think that I think Mr. Amaya needs to do a drug test for his services. And so I would just like to ask Ms. Sim to let me know where they need to go so I can communicate that. And I told him if he needs a ride or anything like that, I'll make sure that that happens so that we can get that service. I'm sure there's not going to be any issue because he doesn't use drugs or alcohol. But I know that we just need to roll it out. So I want to help facilitate getting these services done for him so he can get that all caught up and finished as soon as possible. And he is interested in placement of Ariel as well as Gael and Sergio once he's got a place of his own and he's employed. So Those are the goals that he has. And I think that we're, again, like everybody said, we're moving in a wonderful direction here. And we just need to figure out the logistics as we get closer to the end. So I'm really happy about this development.
Okay, and so am I. Mr. Amaya, that will make things so much easier and make this transition just smoother. I congratulate you and the mother on your cooperation and especially moving forward. So it sounds like a very good plan. We just need to finish up the things that we think will be helpful to you. And then, get the kids home and figure out how that's going to look between the two of you. But it sounds like you've already started working on that, which is really great. Okay, Ms. Grant, welcome back. My apologies. Found out a little bit more after you exited. We just have the wrong Jesus Perez Aquino. Mom is confident that that's his name. Last known area of residence was in the Dallas area, but she doesn't think he's there anymore.
Okay.
She's tried to communicate with family. They're not really telling her much, but we'll keep, she says she'll keep trying and see if we can't get anything that's helpful.
Okay.
So,
and I'll just stand by to see if my client changes.
Yeah, I think you were just looking for a different client for you. So
thank you.
My apologies. Okay, then Ms. Kincaid.
Thank you, Your Honor. So the kids are the placement down in Houston continues for Sergio. I just want to make sure that we continue to monitor that psychotropic medication, but hopefully that's helping him. With the younger two, there are a couple of issues that just want to bring to the court's attention. Gael's kind of doing a similar thing to Sergio, where when he gets overstimulated, he kind of does the screaming and the scream singing, I guess, is how they describe it. So they're working with him on that. He does like to chew on things, and he really seeks a lot of, I guess, sensory or stimulation. He likes tight hugs. It kind of, he is young, but I think that he could benefit from maybe some kind of autism screening, just to see if, there are services or there's support that we could offer him to, help him deal with the sensory and the processing things that maybe he's trying to, resolve himself right now. So far as Guile had dental surgery about a month and a half ago. It was a pretty significant one, but it seems like he's doing well. Audiel is still attending physical therapy for his neck, and that is improving. They say that whenever he gets tired, though, it kind of starts to pull to the side again, but it is improving. One of the concerns so far as placement is they just want to make sure this is their first placement, and they get a little bit confused on scheduling, so they just want to make sure that whatever the schedule is for visits, it's as consistent as we can get it. I understand things change, holidays come up, but for them, they would really appreciate, especially since they're fixing to put the boys in a Head Start program, just to continue to help them with their education and progress, to know that that's every week. If it is going to be on Fridays every week, then, they'll have it set and they'll know. But that's basically the update for the kiddos, Judge.
Okay. Gael is very young. He's just 2, and most of the time I don't think they'll do any kind of screening for autism until they're a little bit older. But Ms. Sim, has his primary care physician, started looking at that?
There's no notes that they have, but I can always ask for him to be taken to his primary care physician to look at that, and if they can refer him to a specialist, then they could go that direction, but I don't think I've seen notes about it.
Knowing that it's genetically in the family, I feel strongly that we should do that.
Okay.
I think, placement can describe to the primary care doctor, some of these things that he's doing and make him or her aware that, he's got an older sibling that has had very similar behaviors and that's kind of where it started. And so, I'm just wondering if referral to, ECI or anything like that might be of some help. I know that a lot of the agencies that deal with autism and are helpful with that, I'm just not sure that they will start with children until they're a little bit older.
Right, and he has had both ADL and Gail have had ECI come out to the house, and they were not majorly developmentally behind to where ECI had to completely intervene. So I can get him to his PCP and see what we can do about getting a specialist.
Okay.
Your Honor.
Yes.
With Sergio, he didn't get tested for autism until he was like 4. Close to 4. And Gael will be 3 on the 18th.
Okay. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to get them to really try to do any kind of serious assessment, but I think a primary care physician often can start spotting some red flags, and particularly with a sibling that we know has this. I think they'll pay a little closer attention, and maybe we could get started with some behavioral interventions so that things don't, spiral out of control.
And Your Honor, Gael is getting speech therapy through ECI right now, and placement said that is benefiting him, and they hope to continue it even after. Now, once he turns 3, I don't know, what we'll need to do so far as that. And I agree, Your Honor, I'm not sure what they can do for autism screening at his age, but I just want the court to be aware that this is what we're noticing, and just want to help the kids any way we can.
Yeah, let's start with the primary care physician and see where we can go from there. Okay. Also about the visits, then, yeah, Miss Sim, I mean, to the extent that we can try to really set day and time and stick to that the best that we can, that we want to help placement out as much as we can. I understand holidays and, life happens. So let's see if we can't help them out by trying to make it pretty consistent.
Okay, I will try. I know that, Grace doesn't get her work schedule until normally the end of the week for the next week. But I will send out a message and reminder to try and stress that importance.
Yeah, and placement, if they aren't aware of that, let's just make them aware of that, that is partly what we're working around.
Okay.
So, okay. It's important mom have a job and all that. So, okay.
Your Honor,
all right.
I try to get every Friday off as much as I can, but sometimes it's impossible. The lady that does the visits can tell you I try to get every Friday off.
Okay. That's all you can do, Ms. Cabinas, just continue to, try to do that. So, okay, I appreciate it. All right, then, CASA.
I had the same concerns as Ms. Kincaid, and we got it cleared. I was just concerned about the visits also. So hopefully we can all work together to help placement also with that. Or how you said, Grace can do as much as she can, but we can all communicate and help out. Thank you. And no concerns on placement. Everything's okay with, I saw them last week and they're doing really good there.
And one last thing, Judge, I just remembered this. I believe placement is going to put in a travel pass for the holidays, I think to go to Oklahoma City. earlier this fall, they took him to, I believe, Albuquerque, and they went to the zoo and things like that. So just want everyone to be aware they're probably going to be requesting that.
Okay, we just need to look at that enough in advance to try to work around and parents' visits and make sure all that's going to be okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Especially, Your Honor, since my client will be here for Christmas. He'll be here before Christmas, and I know that he'll want to spend some time. So I hope that travel doesn't take up the whole Christmas period.
I believe it's
So.
on November 26th through the 29th. The agreement was already set.
Good. Great.
And she has a schedule. I don't know if everybody got in their email. She sent it to me. She sent the dates and where they're planning to do each day.
No, but I wasn't included in that.
She just sent it this morning, but if you need me, I can forward it to everybody.
That would be awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay, so we've got plenty of time to work around about what we're going to do for Christmas. Okay. Okay, then, anybody have anything further or questions?
I have a question, Your Honor. Will we be able to see our kids on the 24th at least for a little bit?
I think they're talking about the Thanksgiving plan.
No, on Christmas.
Sorry, Christmas.
So, I have no idea what placement's plans are. And, because I guess, let me ask Ms. Sim, is placement the only one supervising those virtual visits? Or is there anybody else involved?
It's a third-party provider who supervises those visits.
Yeah. So we have to work around that person's work schedule, and the 24th, that becomes sort of a holiday for a lot of people. We'll do, what I tell parents is we will try to get a visit in as close to Christmas as we possibly can. And, but I can't promise you that it'd be that day because I don't control their schedule.
Okay, it's fine. It's just either closer or on the day. That's what we meant.
Yeah, I can tell you it probably won't be Christmas Day, So, but we will get you some time to spend and sort of have Christmas. Okay. Anybody else have any other questions? All right, then today we will continue the department as temporary managing conservator of the children, and we will continue their current placement. I'm going to find that there will be a continuing danger to return the children home at this time, but parents are, I think, in compliance. I know that the long distance makes it difficult with services, so Mr. Ramaya's move, I think, will really help. And we can get maybe a little more dialed in on getting these services finished, but it appears we're working in the right direction. So I will see you all back for our next hearing, and that won't be until March 11th of 2026. That'll be a 9 o'clock docket. I hope that we are very well on the way with reunification at that point in time. I want parents to be kept, very much in the loop about the children's therapies to the extent that they can be. They need to start really learning about what techniques and what methods that placement is using with the children. When one, like if Gael begins to escalate, and, how do they handle that? So, they need to start learning those skills. Okay. I hope all of you have very nice holidays and hope Mr. Amaya's move goes well. And I'll see you back in March.
Looks like we have everyone except Miss Grant's client. Tracy.
Rachel, is this one
I
Aquino?
thought he was ruled out as the father
He was.
based on a DNA test. Okay.
Yes, he's been ruled out, but I wasn't dismissed, so
Okay.
I went ahead and got on.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if he's been formally dismissed yet.
I didn't see anything where he had Rachel, so
Okay.
that's why I went ahead and came.
Okay. Okay, and we've got the interpreter and Mr. Amaya. I don't know if he's by his device.
Señora Maya.
Have announcements, please.
Amber Rich, Regional Attorney for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services, present and ready with Garrett Ninemeyer, Permanency Specialist from St. Francis Ministries, and Jennifer Campos, covering supervisor for St. Francis Ministries, also present and ready, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Tracy Riley, and I'm appearing for the mother, Grace Amaya, and we are both present and ready, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Haiti Herrera.
Meredith, sorry, go ahead.
Haiti Herrera with CASA, and I have volunteer Denise Marnell. Present and ready, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Meredith Graff appearing for Sergio Amaya, and he is here, and we are both ready to proceed.
Thank you.
Stacy Grant on behalf of Jesus Aquino, and as previously announced, he has been ruled out as the father through DNA testing, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll kick you out here in just a second.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. And do I have an ad litem?
Yes, Your Honor. Savannah Kincaid for the children. I'm present and ready.
Thank you. Okay, so Ms. Rich, if you'd like to proceed, and if we could dispense with Ms. Grant right off the bat, please.
Your Honor, we do have a proposed order to submit. A bit of housekeeping on this because we did exclude a Jesus Perez Aquino that was living in Corpus Christi, but also pled in an unknown father. So I believe Judge Baker had kept the ad litem on for an unknown.
Okay. But you've eliminated the gentleman from Corpus.
Yes,
Okay.
Judge.
All right. So, Ms. Grant, you can't leave.
That's okay, Judge. I always love to see you.
Well, me too. Thanks. So, Ms. Rich, proceed, please.
Garrett will give that report for us.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Well, so I don't know how much information is known on this, but recently Sergio got back to Texas. He's in Texas currently. He's working a job. He sent me pay stubs for that. He's working a lot. I recently sent in 2054s, and so we're getting him some services set up here in Texas as opposed to Florida where he was previously. He still needs to go and do drug testing every month, as well as start counseling. As far as Grace goes, she needs to do rational behavior training. She needs to continue her counseling, and she also needs to continue to work on housing stability.
Okay. How about some positive things? You want
to
make them sound good?
Yes, I apologize. They did start doing in-person visits last week. I'm going to continue to get those set up for them. They both made it. It was a pretty good visit. They both interacted really well with the kids. We did recently do a screening for Gail on autism, and he got diagnosed as level 2.
Okay. All right, does anybody have any questions?
I do,
I
Your Honor.
do.
I do as, yes. We all do.
Okay, well, how about we just start, Miss Riley, you go ahead.
Sure. So it seems like from what I've read, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a change in goals.
Yes, I apologize. There was.
Can you tell us
We
what the change was?
Yes, we changed from reunification being the primary goal and the concurrent goal being related adoption to unrelated adoption concurrent with reunification as the secondary goal.
Okay, and is there a reason for that switch?
Yes, I think there was some concerns at the time that we were not making any headway as far as housing stability and as far as getting services done was going.
Okay, so let's talk about that as far as Grace is concerned. What services was she ordered to do?
Yes, she was ordered to do psychosocial. She was ordered to do rational behavior training. She was ordered to do parenting. She was ordered to do counseling.
Okay, and so she did this psychosocial, right?
Yes.
And she is in counseling, correct?
She has attended some counseling.
Okay. And she did the parenting class, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And rational behavior therapy, where are we at with that?
So, rather recently, we did get her set up with it. Initially, the one that she registered for was not the correct class. She is registered for the correct class. I think it's April is the next time she can get in and do it.
Okay, and so I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it seems like the RBT part of this wasn't really on her, that she wasn't doing it. There was some miscommunications with the old, not you, but with the old caseworker that kind of set her up with the wrong class. Is that right?
I am not aware exactly of what went down on that front.
Okay, but it wasn't, I mean, she was trying to enroll in something. It's just she didn't enroll in the right thing.
As of right now, in the past few weeks, she's been trying that I know of.
Okay, but, and I'm just trying to make sure I'm clear, but you said that the first thing she signed up for was wrong, right? When did she sign up for that first thing that was wrong?
Yes. I'm under the impression that was back last November.
Right. So what I'm saying is she tried as far as last November, it just, for some reason, something happened and she wasn't given the right information to enroll in RBT, correct?
I would assume so.
Okay. And so I'm a little bit, and so with housing, what's the issue with the housing?
So she's been in a couple different places in the time that I have had this case. I know initially, she was having issues with her apartment, so she was staying in a motel for a little bit. Now she's in a 1-bedroom that she kind of just got in, I think about a month and a half ago. And so I think the big concern is just her keeping the same housing, same apartment, not having any issues with that long term.
Right. And obviously agreed that's a concern, but what I can tell is housing, and then she needs to complete counseling, and then the RBT that was kind of not really all on her are the only things she hasn't done. Is that right?
Yes, and we would like to see some pay stubs at some point, verifying she's working.
Okay, but so, and you believe that warrants changing the goal to adoption by a non-kinship adoption?
I staffed it with my director, Stacy, and for her, it warranted the change.
Okay, pass the witness.
Let's see, Miss Graff.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Niedermeyer, can you please help explain why you indicated that my client needs to do drug testing every month when drugs have never been an issue for him? There's never been an allegation. My client has put on the record in several of the previous hearings that he does not use drugs. He's never used drugs. He does not even drink alcohol. So what is the basis for requiring him to now do drug testing?
Yes, I do apologize. It's initially on his service plan. Per my supervisor, it has to remain on there until I get permission to take it off as a requirement.
Have you found out?
How about that? We'll take it off.
Yes,
Okay?
ma'am.
It is ordered
Your
off.
Honor.
Your Honor, can I speak to my lawyer? Because something that he said is not like concurrent. Can I please speak to my lawyer?
Grace, we're in the middle of a hearing right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
you have to wait just a little bit and listen to the
Okay.
rest. Write down what you want to talk about, and we'll get back to it, and you can talk to her, okay?
Thank you.
Mhm.
Mr. Niemeyer, have you been down to visit Mr. Amaya in his house in Friona?
I have not yet.
Your Honor, I have been down to visit Mr. Amaya in his house in Friona, and I have a plan to go down there again on Monday to see him again. It is a very clean, neat house. He lives
Judge, I'm
by
going to
himself.
object to the attorney testifying. I don't believe that's appropriate, Judge. I mean, I'm sorry,
just am
but
very frustrated. I'm very frustrated, Your Honor, because I let Mr. Niemeyer know a month ago that I went down to visit him, and he said he was going to go down and visit him, and he has not yet done so. My client has been in Texas since the beginning of February, and no one has been down to visit him yet.
Thank you. Do you
Thank
have any
you. I have
other?
no further questions. No.
Thank you. Hold on. Let me. I hate it when I'm. Miss Kincaid, your turn.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes.
Where is Sergio placed? Sergio Jr. Sorry. Or is he in a foster home in the Houston area?
I apologize. Can you say that one more time?
Where is Sergio Jr. placed?
Yes, he is in a foster home with in Houston.
Okay. And is he how is he doing in that placement?
He's been doing better for placement. He's been starting to talk a little bit. They're in the process of working on potty training. He is currently in pre-K.
Okay. And what services is he receiving so far as therapies?
Yeah, he's doing his main one's speech therapy right now and play therapy.
Okay. And is he on some psychotropic medications?
I do apologize. Let me double check just to be sure. Not.
Is he on clonidine?
Yes.
And recently a new medication called Focalin?
Yes.
Okay. And is he on any other medications?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And are those medications being monitored by a psychiatrist every 30 days?
Yes.
Okay. Now at school, he's attending school, is that correct?
Yes.
And he has been put in special education, is that correct?
Yes.
And he's getting speech and occupational therapy at school, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now with visits with Sergio, so far as the parents are concerned, it has to be via Zoom because he's so far away, is that right?
Yes.
But are the visits consistent, inconsistent? What are those like?
It's been a bit of a mix on the virtual. Last week, Grace made her visit. Sergio didn't. I know before I took this case, it was kind of the same way, where it's like sometimes we'd make the virtual with Sergio, sometimes we wouldn't.
Okay. Do you think it would be helpful for Sergio if those visits were consistently attended and probably on a regular schedule just for Sergio's sake?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Now, concerning Adiel and Gael, where are they placed?
Yes, they are placed in a foster home in Amarillo.
Okay, and how are they doing in their placement?
They've been doing pretty well. They look healthy. Gael has, of course, a new diagnosis of the autism, but they've been doing good in placement, and I've heard no complaints as far as their preschool's been going.
Okay, now Gael he's got both Adiel and Gael have some medical issues. So far as Gael, I hear that they're looking at doing a tonsillectomy on him. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And they believe that that's going to help him with some of the issues that he has with swallowing as well as sleep and speech.
Correct.
Okay. And what kind of therapies is he in currently?
I do apologize. I don't know off the top of my head on him.
Okay. Is he in speech, play therapy, feeding, and occupational therapy?
Yes, that sounds correct.
Okay. And how about visits with the parents so far as Gael and Adiel are concerned? Are those in person? Are they virtual? How's that?
So they were virtual. We did more recently start in person. We're going to try to get those set up regularly through one of our FSWs. The first in-person one we did set up, they did both attend and were both on time. That went well. Virtual ones I know have been a little harder, just because Gail and Adiel tend to have a little trouble focusing on the computer screen. I know there was an incident of Gail putting a layer of blocks in front of the computer screen because he just didn't want to look at it.
Okay. And are those virtual visits, are they consistently attended by the parents, or have there been some misses?
I know there have been some misses in the past, but as far as the last month or so goes, it's been pretty consistent with the making.
And then going back to Adiel just briefly, is he also seeing a doctor for some of the issues that he's having?
Correct.
Okay, and he is currently being consulted by an ENT on potentially getting some tubes in his ears.
Yes.
And he did graduate from physical therapy, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other, are either of these kids on psychotropic medications?
No.
Okay. Are they on any other kind of prescription medications that the court should be aware of?
As of right now, no.
Okay. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Ms. Rich, anything else of this witness?
Judge, could I ask one question?
Sure.
Mr. Niedermeyer, has there been any effort since May of 2025 to move Sergio closer to Amarillo with his siblings?
As far as I've had the case, there has not been.
Does he see his siblings?
On the virtual, in person, he has not.
And since May of 2025, when the case began, I know he had medical services in May and June, but there's been no update of any doctor's appointments or anything in the case report that I see since that time. Do you know if anything has occurred that's just not documented in the report?
I am in the process of looking into that. I'm waiting on some documentation from his placement so that I can get dates and update.
And one last question. He's not had any therapy since this case began in May of 2025, according to the report. Is that correct?
I am under impression he has been having therapy.
So there's a lot of updating needed to the report regarding Sergio and we've had this case almost 12 months, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Pass the witness, Judge.
And Judge, if you don't mind, I just have a few quick follow-ups.
Sure.
Mr. Niemeyer, was there an issue that took place at a visit with Sergio and the children where he had an unauthorized person at the visit?
Yes, ma'am. That is correct.
Okay, and so did that happen one time or more than one time?
One time that I was told about it, that he brought the person on virtually that I'm aware of.
Okay, and so he actually brought the person on and was allowing them to speak to the children. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and that person is actually related to my client, Miss Amaya, correct?
Yes.
And is someone that she does not want her children to be in contact with. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And so is Mr. Amaya living with Grace's sister, or are they just, do you know the relationship there?
I am not in 100% sure what the relationship there is. I know.
Judge, objection. That would call for speculation.
Well, I'll rephrase, Judge, and so that it doesn't.
Thank you.
Have you asked Mr. Amaya what his relationship is with the sister?
Yes.
And what has he told you?
Judge, objection. Any response would be hearsay.
Well, he's a party, Judge.
Mr. Amaya's on here and can refute it. Go ahead, you can ask.
Yes. Per my conversation with him, the relation to Miss Grace is just helping Sergio out with getting
Grace
stuff
is my client. So who are you talking about?
Yes, the relation to her that was present at his visit.
Okay, so Grace's sister, according to Mr. Amaya, they're just friends.
Yes.
And she's helping him.
Yes. Per my conversation with him.
Okay. Has my client missed any visits?
Not in the time I've had this case.
Okay. And she said in-person visits only with the 2 kids that are closer. Is that right?
Yes. I am in the process of setting her up an in-person visit for Sergio Jr.
Okay. And hasn't that been set up and then fallen through a couple of times now already?
Yes. Correct.
All right. And when I say fallen through, it's not Grace that had an issue. It's the department that had an issue and had to cancel on her. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. So she's been waiting to go see Sergio in person. And for some reason, the department has canceled her appointments or had to reschedule them. Correct?
Yeah. I'm not aware exactly what the reasoning was behind it, but yes.
Okay. So it could have been the foster family. You're just not sure.
Yeah.
All right. But Grace has indicated to you that she wants to see Sergio, correct?
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
All right. And then pass the witness. Thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions of Mr. Niedermeyer?
Judge, I have one more. My apologies.
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Niedermeyer, based on the questions you've been asked today and the testimony you've provided specifically in regard to Sergio, are you still asking for a finding today from the judge that the department is making reasonable efforts to reunify?
Yes.
And so what efforts are you making to reunify Sergio?
I'm sorry, efforts for Sergio Jr. or efforts for Sergio Sr.?
Sergio Jr. to be reunified with any biological parent.
Yes. So we have been we've been keeping up with the virtual visits. We have been in discussions with Sergio Sr. about what would be needed for Sergio Jr. to come home to him as far as some of the higher needs.
And over 12 months period, that's the sum total efforts as to Sergio Jr. to reunify?
As far as I'm aware, that is what we've been doing.
So, Your Honor, in light of the testimony today, I would be asking for a finding today that St. Francis is not making reasonable efforts to reunify Sergio Jr. and that they be ordered to immediately engage in looking for a home closer to siblings, in-person sibling visits, and allowing the mother to begin in-person visitation. And I know it's not really my dog in the fight, so to speak, Your Honor, but it does concern me, especially with an unknown father, that if the efforts are not being made for Sergio Jr. as to a located father, that there may be an unknown father that is needing the same effort put forth that's not being received.
And Judge, for what it's worth, Ms. Grant just kind of beat me to the punch there because I think it was apparent that I'm headed in that same direction. We believe that there's not reasonable efforts being made. That the change in goals seems to be, completely inappropriate in line of the fact that, and I don't want to speak to, but Mr. Maya, had to move to Texas, but was doing services in Florida, I believe, before. Miss Amaya my client has been doing virtually everything that she's been asked to do except RBT, which was not her fault to get rescheduled. And then housing, which she is struggling with housing, Judge, because she is having difficulties finding a full-time job and that can support her and the kids, et cetera. And she does need help with that. But at this point in time, Judge, she's been doing everything possible to see her kids, showing up to all of her visits, doing all of the things that have been asked to. And it seems inappropriate that the answers to she doesn't even know what's happening with her child. She doesn't know if he's in therapy. She doesn't know what medical treatment he's getting. She knows the recent, diagnosis of one of the younger kids, but I think we learned more from Miss Kincaid's testimony than we have from the updated reports.
Thank you.
Judge, I'm sorry, my screen was frozen for a moment. If
probably needs to be.
The wind is not my friend today with the internet or something. If I would like to make a motion that we have a settlement conference on this before final, but also if I could pose a few questions to Mr. Niedermeyer about the level of services for Sergio Jr. due to his condition.
Yes, you may.
Garrett, can you tell us a little bit about Sergio Jr.'s autism and the level of care that is needed for him?
Yes. So he's on one of our higher level of cares. He's had some issues in the past with eloping. He does have a lot of little outbursts, tantrums.
Objection, Your Honor. May I take the witness on for Dyer?
Yes.
Mr. Niedermeyer, did you testify just a few minutes ago that your report is not up to date because you are awaiting information from placement regarding medical issues with Sergio Jr.?
I am waiting on more recent medical documentation from them.
So to be clear, what is the date of the documentation that your testimony is based on right now?
Judge, objection. This has been a condition since the beginning of the case. In fact, why the child was brought into care.
Your Honor, I'm just trying to establish hearsay and whether or not Mr. Niedermeyer has personal knowledge or if Ms. Rich would need to call placement who's here in the hearing today as a witness. So it's not hearsay.
That's fine. You can go ahead and answer the question as to the date of your most recent information.
Yes. So on the medical side, I am going based off of the documentation from May. I'm also going off of my conversations with placement.
So you haven't had anything since May of 25?
That's my understanding, Your Honor, which is my reason for the board Dyer.
Okay. You can continue.
Okay, so Mr. Niedermeyer, you don't have any personal knowledge other than the original medical information in the original service plan from the intake of this case. Is that correct?
I also have my knowledge from talking with placement.
Okay, and placement is not intervened in this case and they are not pled in as a party. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So, Your Honor, I would go ahead and enter an objection as to hearsay and ask that this witness not be allowed to answer any questions outside of his personal knowledge of the original medical information from May of 2025, almost 12 months ago, 10 months ago.
So is the placement on here?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Well, I would rather hear from the placement anyway. So that's your request is granted.
Thank you, Judge.
So, Ms. Rich, do you have any other questions of Mr. Niedermeyer?
Just a few, Your Honor. Could we go back to the topic about mother's housing, Garrett, just to clarify? Her current housing is what? You're on mute, sorry.
Right, apologies. She's currently in a 1-bedroom apartment at the moment.
And prior to that, go ahead.
Prior to that, she was in a motel.
And you are awaiting proof of employment or pay stubs for her?
Yes, ma'am.
You've seen father's pay stubs and you've received those, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
That's all I have right now, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I do have one more question from Mr. Niemeyer.
Okay.
Mr. Niemeyer, are you aware that Mr. Maya has obtained furniture beds for the children, and he's been asking for in-person visits with his children? Is that true?
Yes, I have been informed of this. I have not seen his furniture or anything like that yet, but I have been informed of this.
And are you, will you tell the court whether it's true that he's been asking for in-person visits with his children since he arrived here?
Yes, ma'am, he has.
And what have you done to make those in-person visits possible?
I personally watched one of them, as we did not have an FSW at the time. I set up one for him.
Set up one, what, a virtual visit or an in-person visit?
An in-person visit, ma'am.
What about Sergio Jr.? Have you tried to set up any in-person visits with him and his father?
I have not yet, ma'am.
And what is the reason for that?
It is currently beyond my knowledge on how to set up for Houston, and so I am waiting on instruction from my supervisor on how to facilitate that.
And you would want the court to find that that's a reasonable effort today to just be, you've been asked for over a month for in-person visits, and you have not gotten any information, but you want the court to now find reasonable efforts on your part for the parents to have this in-person visits with their children?
Correct.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have no further questions.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions of Mr. Niedermeyer?
I apologize. I thought of one more.
Go ahead, Ms. Grant.
Mr. Niedermeyer, when did you get appointed this case?
Yes. I have to go back on the exact date, but it was like mid-January.
Okay, so you're fairly new on the case, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you fairly new to St. Francis?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so would it, in fairness to you, it sounds like maybe you're lacking any documentation to adequately review the record and provide some of the answers here today. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And it's fair to say that, would it be fair to say that the documentation in this case is extremely lacking prior to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Pass the witness, Judge.
Thank you. Any other witnesses? Ms. Rich. I think she's frozen on us.
I think so too.
Oh, there she goes. She's moving.
I'm not sure, Your Honor, that she heard you call her. I think she was frozen when you called her.
So Rachel, I guess she can call in and just appear by phone if she's having so much trouble with the wind.
Okay, Judge, I'll see if I can get a hold of her.
Okay, thanks.
Judge, it looks like she's not frozen anymore.
Miss
I'm
Rich? Okay, you sure? No, you froze again.
Zoom and the internet have been very difficult today.
It's the plot of West Texas.
That would really be complicated.
However, as I look at the updates for Sergio Jr., I see a medication update, January 26th. Just wanted to make sure council had received this through the e-file and it was available to them.
Are you talking about the February permanency report? Ms. Rich, you had froze.
Yes, yes. There are updates for Sergio Jr. medication updates listed for January 26th, just for example.
I hesitated to rely heavily on that report because it's titled a permanency report, but the footer is titled a status report. So I assumed copy and paste error. I don't mean, I'm not nitpicking, but I just wanted to be certain.
It also appears from that report that the information on Sergio is all dated back to 2025. There's nothing new, and I'm looking at page 7 with the incorrect footer. I did indicate to Mr. Niemeyer that there were numerous errors in this report, but I didn't see a corrected report that was filed.
Okay, on page 8, section 4, medication, for example, medication reviews listed for January 26, February 26.
And Your Honor, at this point, I would just object to argumentative and request that if we're going to go into updates, he's already testified. It's hearsay number 1. He's testified by his own mouth that the documentation is lacking. And I think there's a better witness in the room to supply the information to the court, being the placement.
Right. I tell you what I'm going to suggest, and y'all can tell me if I'm right on this or not, but I think you have a new caseworker, and obviously I'm not a fan of this whole wonderful new system anyway. I was the first in the state to have to engage, so I obviously am not a fan of having to deal with this process, but I think what we should do is we can probably set a hearing. Y'all meet, there's probably an April date. I think a lot of this needs to be cleared up by this caseworker. A lot of the things that y'all have requested, I'd like for him to come back and basically address those things with the knowledge that a caseworker should walk in with. Does anybody have a problem with that?
No, Judge.
No, Judge, I would just request a recess at this time and a reset of this permanency hearing for a continuation so that we can go deeper into the reunification and give this new caseworker an opportunity to represent his case in his own work.
Well, and it sounds like he needs to, go out and to Friona and do a few things like that. So I think you've got some issues here that you're too close to the end of this case to not at least to have him get up to date on it before you either extend it or have a final. So does anybody have an objection to that?
No.
Judge, we don't have an objection, but we just, in the meantime, and I think that Your Honor would agree, but in the meantime, want them to push forward, to get us going somewhere. We need in-person visits with Sergio. We need an effort to get Sergio closer, more frequent in-person visits with the other 2 kids. Like they're just.
And I agree with you. And this is going to go ahead and be the statutory hearing today. And they're on the very, very edge of not making reasonable efforts, which is not a good place for St. Francis to be in this case, believe me. So they're going to come back next month and they're going to justify and clean up this mess and have it ready for either a final or an extension and let Judge Baker jump up and down.
And Your Honor, since this is the statutory hearing today, could I formally request that St. Francis be ordered not to proceed on a goal change or an adoption put their effort, I guess my point is, Judge, I want their efforts to be towards reunification before we come back here, not concurrently working on an adoption when we may not be ready to do that.
Well, yeah, especially because adoption is now their first goal. So I would hate to see them come back with a lot of evidence proving that they've met, because they flipped the goals and now adoption is their primary goal. And so I agree with Ms. Grant. We don't want them to come back and say, here's all the things we've done to facilitate adoption, which would meet their burden. But I mean, I think we all agree that's not appropriate at this point in time for that switch to have even been made.
Well, they can voluntarily today make that here, or they can be found to have made no reasonable efforts towards that goal. So we'll let the supervisor speak up here. Which way do you want to go on that?
We can do that. Sorry.
I bet you can.
Yeah, we can do that. We will get everything that y'all need.
Okay, so the goal goes back to the original today. And then with that goal staying like it is, then I will not have a finding of reasonable efforts not being made. Is that the agreement? Yes?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Judge.
I would agree.
Okay, is that the attorneys for the parents and the attorney ad litem? Is that satisfactory to you today?
It is, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because I don't want to penalize Mr. Niedermeyer, and because we all know what a finding of no reasonable efforts does on a read from the feds. So I don't want to do that. I want to give them the opportunity to clean this up. Okay. All right. So now that we've agreed to that status, is there anything else today that y'all need to address before you come back with Mr. Niedermeyer up to date? Yes.
This is Casa, and I was just, if Mr. Amaya could answer my phone call. I don't know if maybe he doesn't answer unknown numbers, or I've tried, or maybe I have an incorrect number. And I know the advocate doesn't speak Spanish, so I went ahead and called him, but I'm not getting an answer.
Okay. So Mr. Amaya, if the interpreter we'll let y'all go into a room when we get through here and you can visit with him. How about that?
Great. Thank you.
Okay. You're very welcome.
And Ms. Herrera, if you would like to visit him in person, I'm going to be down there on Monday at 1 p.m. If you'd like to come and meet him when I'm there, I would be happy to have you come and visit. And if you want to just send me an email, and I can give you the information, his address, and anything else you might need, I'd be happy to help you with that.
That would be great. Perfect. Yes.
Okay. So y'all will take care of that.
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So what we're going to do today is this is the statutory hearing that's required to be held. We're going to have another hearing next month. When is that date, Rachel, that you meet for Palmer?
Judge, it's going to be April the 8th at 9.
Okay. So that'll be April the 8th. Does that work for everybody's calendar?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And that will basically, okay, that'll be a hearing. Okay. And in summation, basically, and I'm going to tell you what I think, and if there's if we need to clarify this a little bit, please step in. It's my understanding that Sergio Jr.'s, nobody has seen any actual efforts to try to get this child moved back to the Panhandle in some form, whether it be Lubbock, Amarillo, or Wichita Falls, anything, leaving this child in Houston, the armpit of Texas. So I want to see what efforts are being made by St. Francis as far as that's concerned. That needs to be brought. The other children, I want the in-person visitations going up and running. Caseworker, or supervisor, whoever needs to go to the Mr. Amaya's home. What else do you have on your list of attorneys? That
Judge,
adequate?
since this is a new caseworker, could I request also an update of the diligent searches for an unknown father on their end?
Yes. Yes. And you understand what that is, Mr. Niedermeyer, a diligent search for unknown dads?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Has anybody even sent the documentation to Austin to see if there's a registered father on that child?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Paternity search. Okay. All right. Anything else, Miss Graff? Anything else in that list that you'd like to see at the April hearing?
Your Honor, I remember hearing Mr. Niedermeyer say that there was only two things that my client needed to do, and that was drug testing and counseling. Your Honor indicated that the drug testing would not be needed and that would be taken off the list. So counseling, I believe, is the only thing. So I just want to make sure that whatever counseling is going to happen, that works around his work schedule, because he is trying to set aside as much as he can to provide for his children and make it possible for them to return home. So if with that last service still being done, I want to make sure that he can actually accomplish it.
I think Mr. Niedermeyer's you understand that, and okay. And the drug testing is to be removed. Unless there is some sign that he is on drugs, but at this point in time, that is not a random thing that the St. Francis has the right to do.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And then let's see, Miss Riley, anything else from you?
No, Judge, as long as we have RBT actually set up now, and then just that, I think there is an in-person visit scheduled, even though Sergio is still in Houston, and we would just, I think Grace would very much like to see that actually happens.
Okay, so in person for all children. Houston is, we all know how that is.
Right.
But I want to see what the efforts are to get this child back in this region. Okay. Which is required by law. Okay. Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. And then Miss Kincaid, anything from you as the ad litem?
No, Your Honor. I did not actually receive the report. If it was filed, I didn't get it. But I did receive one via email. I've talked with the placements. The children are doing fairly well. There's a lot of interventions that are going on, a lot of therapies that all of the children are engaged in. With Sergio, the one thing I would, request is he does really need consistency and schedules. And so if there's anything that could be helpful for the parents and educating them on the things that help Sergio do his very best when it comes to school and just keeping his schedule, I hope that we can keep them in the loop on that. But I feel like maybe when we come back next month, we'll all know a little bit more.
I think that yeah, and Alan, let me remind, and I know Mr. Niedermeyer, you're new. If this one child is going to have a tonsillectomy, the parents have the right to be there. They are to be informed and kept in that loop as to everything that's happening medically to these children. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that set anytime soon?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
They're waiting, Your Honor, they're waiting on the results of a sleep study that he had to do. And so they're deciding, the ENT is going to kind of make a recommendation based on the results of the sleep study as to when and how to go about that.
Okay. Well, the mother can attend any medical appointments that she's available to go to. So they need to remember to do that. Okay. All right. Anybody else have anything today? I know you wanted to have a meeting, Miss Rich, or a mediation or something. I think let's see what happens when y'all come back here in April, and if this has gotten sort of cleaned up with the new caseworker and everything. And then y'all can look if you're going to extend or mediate or whatever. Is that okay with you?
Yes, Judge. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry, this looks like it's sort of turned into a mess. Looks like you had a caseworker issue, and Mr. Niedermeyer has jumped into the middle of a fire. So thank you for not running scared. You'll be fine. These women are just being good attorneys. So I'm going to go ahead and find, at this point in time, not promising that it'll happen in April, that the department has made reasonable efforts because they have made these agreements today to get this moving. So this hearing will be the statutory hearing. There'll be the hearing on April the 8th. This is still set for a final on May 13th. I'd be very surprised to see that happen, but y'all will discuss that in April with Judge Baker. Does anybody else have anything today? Let me remind the parents that you are required by law to continue to work your services. And I am required to tell you, if you fall off that wagon and you don't work these services that you've been ordered to do by the court, that your rights to these children could be restricted or terminated. It would be allowed to be considered in that ground of terminating your parental rights. Does anybody else have anything today? All right. Thank y'all very much. Good luck. And I have Mr. Niedermeyer, hang in there. You'll get it done. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, could you check your chat real quick? It's unrelated to any case. I just wanted to ask you a quick question, if that's okay.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Hello, Judge.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
All right. Are we expecting parents to show up?
Judge, my client was given 2 hours notice and she is on vacation. I don't think she will be here today.
Okay. She understand what we're doing today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, but you are representing her in this matter.
I am.
Okay. All right. This is a Potter County case. This is a request by the Department of Family and Protective Services for the court to entertain an order in aid of investigation.
Judge, do you need to record this one?
Oh, yeah, I will. All right, this is an order in aid of an investigation request by the department, and it was presented to me this morning. There was reference throughout the supporting affidavit that the mother in the case, Michelle Fowler, was represented by an attorney, Ms. Sapien. I wasn't clear whether it was with respect to this case or whether Ms. Sapien was representing her on something else. But regardless, because mother stated that she had counsel and the department had tried to make some contact with Ms. Sapien, I felt like, we needed to try to take time to actually have a hearing on this. So, present today then is Mr. Groff for the Department of Family and Protective Services, and it looks like he's joined by Ms. Jones, Kathy Jones, who's supervisor by, also looks like Casey Wall. And
Yes,
Ms. Wall was the investigator, I believe, based on what I'm looking at in the affidavit.
That's correct, Judge. She's the affiant.
All right. Okay, and notice, I guess, then was given to the mother, Ms. Fowler, was notice given to Mr. Sechrist, the father.
Well, we didn't plead him as a party. We pled who we understand to be mother's significant other and possible live-in significant other, Mr. Orn. We instructed Ms. Wall, once we knew the hearing was set, to reach out to Mr. Orn. I'll have to defer to my client whether she was able to reach him or not.
Okay, and I apologize. I I know that the department's had contact with Mr. Seacrest,
That is correct.
the father, but you're correct. I mean, his appearance today wouldn't be necessary as he was not pled into the case. All right. Well, we'll just try to take that up through some testimony. All right, Mr. Groff, I'm going to allow you to call witness and just try to put on any additional testimony that there might be beyond what's in the affidavit. Obviously, I've read it and know what it contains. There are some things that are referenced in there that obviously, such as the video that I obviously have not seen, but
And Judge,
anyway,
I
I'll
just
let you-
received this afternoon. I'm sorry to cut you off, Judge. I have a copy of the video. I have not shared that with counsel, but I can upload that and share it with Your Honor and counsel now. I don't know that there is any additional testimony other than what's in the affidavit. I spoke with Ms. Wall just a little while ago. I'll defer to her if there's any additional updates that we didn't discuss, but however you want, Your Honor, if Your Honor would like me, I can upload the video so counsel and you can both take a look at it. It's short.
I think it would just be if you plan to introduce it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it kind of goes to Ms. Wall's concerns about possible substance use and
Do you have any idea, Jean, on the date of that video?
It's not, there's no metadata on the video that I received. I looked at that, anticipating that might be a question. I have to defer to my client. She can tell you when she received it, how she received it, but the video itself has no embedded metadata.
If you intend to introduce that, I would object to any relevance. I mean, we don't know. I haven't seen it. I don't know what's in it. But what I've read, I don't see that it involves any children or that there's a date associated with the taping of the video.
You know, again, I can have my client can testify to how she received it and what she believes the relevance to be. Obviously, you can object. That's your right to do, and judge will rule on that. But I think it's relevant and germane to at least the reason why my client filed the petition for the order to investigate.
Why don't we just kind of wade into it, and then if you decide you want to offer it, we'll take objections at that point in time, and then before it's viewed, then Ms. Sabian, if I'm going to allow it, I would certainly allow you time to view it.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, then. So we're going to call Ms. Wall.
Yes, please, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Wall, if you'll raise your right hand, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Ms. Wall. Ms. Wall, do you prefer Mia or Casey? Because I have Mia on the pleading, but I see Casey on your screen.
I go by Maya. I keep Casey
Maya
as my legal first name, though.
Okay, so I'll call you Maya then, if that's okay. Ms. Wall, you're employed by DFPS, correct?
Yes.
And you're familiar with Ms. Fowler and her daughters?
Yes.
And did you sign the affidavit and the petition for an order in aid of investigation?
Yes.
Okay. And the information in the affidavit and the petition, is that true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
Okay. And what was the reason why you were assigned?
I was assigned to the case when it was called in on 5/19 for concerns of drug use by home members and the children being left home alone.
Okay. And can you just give the court, what were the specifics about the allegations, or was it just generally that's what you understood when you got the case? Was there something more specific?
The children were told to be dropped off at the home without anyone home, and there was allegations that Dallas Orn was living in the home and using methamphetamines.
Okay. And what did you do to investigate the allegations when you were assigned?
Well, since this was an alternative response case, my first step was to contact Ms. Fowler to schedule a meeting, and she referred me to contact Miss Sapien.
Okay. And the affidavit indicates, and mom has a right to do that, but the affidavit indicates multiple either contacts with Miss Sapien or with her office in order to arrange an interview with her client, with Miss Sapien's client. Is that right?
Yes, I did contact multiple times.
Okay. And were you ever able to actually interview Miss Sapien's client?
No.
Okay. Did you ask to interview the children?
I was unable to interview the children.
Okay.
Objection non-responsive.
Okay, yeah, it's not exactly how the question was asked, so as well just listen to his question carefully.
Yes, ma'am.
I believe my question was, did you ask to interview the children?
No, I was unable to ask.
Okay. Would have been part of your investigation if you were allowed to do so?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you also ask to be able to look at the interior of the mother's home and the children's home?
I did not ask to view the home.
Okay. And is that something that you ordinarily would have asked in this type of investigation?
Yes.
Okay. And was the issue you just didn't get that far because the mom?
Objection leading.
All right.
I don't believe the rules of evidence apply at a hearing of this nature.
Well, we're going to go by them, so
Okay.
just don't lead. I'll
Okay.
give you some leeway, but just don't lead.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. So were you able to perform your investigation or were you impeded in the performance of your investigation?
I could not perform my investigation because I could not contact anyone.
Okay. And the reason you could not contact anyone was why?
Well, Miss Fowler retained counsel, so I respected that to try to go through her counsel, and I was unable to speak with Miss Sapien to schedule anything.
Okay. All right, thank you. And where are the children currently living?
At 6.
Okay. And so you said there were concerns about possible drug use in the home. And is there something specific that you were able to learn during your limited investigation that causes you to have that concern?
The reason I had the concern was due to the video that I was sent depicting Mr. Orn acting, I would say, erratically. I was told this video was filmed in March, so it has been fairly recently.
Okay. And when did you receive the video?
I received the video on 5/20.
Okay. And what did you understand to be the original source of the video?
I was told that Dallas filmed himself.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to speculation.
I asked what she understood to be the source of the video.
I'm going to allow her to tell us how she came by the video and not necessarily all the content of it or anything like that, but how she came by it, and let's see what foundation is laid.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The video came from, or it was Dallas filming himself, which he then sent to his mother. His mother then sent that video to the maternal grandparent of the children in the case, who forwarded it to the father because of her concerns.
Okay. And you observed and you viewed the video?
Yes.
Okay. What was it about what you observed in the video that gives you concerns about drug use, such that you would like to have an interview with the children?
In the video, he was hitting himself in the back of the head and referring to himself as someone who gets people to do drugs, gets them to do alcohol and kill themselves. And at the end of the video, he stated an expletive, the F word, towards himself. He said, F Dallas Arlington, I'm going to make him kill himself like he killed his, or like his father killed himself. And the way he was acting in the video seemed more drug use to me than a mental illness.
Okay. And you said earlier, well, do you have an understanding or a belief as to where Mr. Orn is currently living?
As my understanding, he is also living in the home with the children.
Okay. And you mentioned previously you also had some concerns about supervision and something about a drop off. Can you be more specific about the drop off and the supervision issue, which leads you to want to interview the children?
I spoke with one of the children's father who said he was bringing the children back from his home from his visitation, and he was directed by Miss Fowler to just drop the girl off at home by herself while no one was home, and he was not comfortable with this, and that's what he dropped them off with their grandmother.
Okay. And this is which child? Is this Mary or Audrey?
This is Mary.
And Mary is how old?
She is 11.
And where was she traveling from with her father? Is it local or far away?
They were traveling from Mesa, Colorado.
Okay. Okay. And so you were the one who called the grandmother to take custody of the child until her mom came. Is that right?
Mr. Segrist called her.
Mr. Segrist did. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry.
I had not received the case yet.
Okay. And so based on what you've been able to glean thus far, what are you asking this court to order you to be allowed to do in aid of your investigation?
I would like to be able to interview and see the children, and then see the home and interview home members as well as Michelle.
Okay. And specifically, what are you trying to accomplish in terms of risk or safety threats? Let me strike that question. The reason why you're asking for this is why?
I would like to establish the safety of the children and who is in the home around them.
Okay. Okay. And is there anything else that either wasn't in the affidavit or I didn't cover that you'd like the court to know that we haven't discussed?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Sapien?
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Wall, are you aware that Mr. Segrist and Ms. Fowler have an open modification case right now?
Can you define open modification case? I'm sorry.
Sure. Are you aware that Ms. Fowler has filed to modify the parent-child relationship with Mr. Segrist?
I was aware that Mr. Segrist and Ms. Fowler had a custody battle going.
Okay. And you stated that it was Mr. Segrist that was bringing Mary Jane home on the 18th. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So in what you know, it was not the grandma bringing her home.
No, it was not the grandmother.
Okay. But the reality is the child was never left home alone, was she?
No.
And in fact, when you and I spoke on the phone, you said that you knew there was not a current danger to the children, correct?
I stated that I would like to get in the home and speak with everybody.
And that wasn't my question. My question was, you stated to me that you knew there was not a current danger to the children, correct?
That was on
Ms. Wall, if you would
2 weeks ago.
answer my question.
I don't remember if that's exactly what I stated to you, ma'am.
Okay. You did state that it was an alternative response case, correct?
Yes.
And it was made an alternative response case because there was not an immediate danger to the children, correct?
That may not have been what I stated, but that is why they would make it an alternative response, is if they feel it's not a priority case.
And so in this case, the child was never left alone, was never neglected, correct?
Not to my knowledge.
And so why do you need the court to allow you to further investigate if you have no knowledge of any neglect?
There are also the drug concerns in the home.
Okay. Have you tried to get a hold of Dallas? I don't know how you say his last name. I'll just call him Dallas. Have you tried to get a hold of Dallas?
I do not have any contact information for him.
Okay. Have you ever seen him at my client's house?
I have not visited your client's home, so no, I have not.
Okay. Besides what Mr. Segrest told you, do you have any other reason to think that Dallas is in the home?
No.
Is there any indication from the video that he is in? Well, let me ask you this. I'll strike that. Do you know this video you've referenced where it was filmed?
I don't know where it was filmed.
Okay. You don't know if he was on drugs?
No.
Did you see any children in the video?
No.
And when you talked to me, you indicated that you wanted to meet with my client to see if you could offer services like counseling, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you didn't say you just wanted to meet to interview her. You said you wanted to meet to do services, right?
That is part of the alternative response, yes.
Okay, and wouldn't you agree that that's different than a simple interview?
I believe it includes an interview to learn what services I could offer.
And you did not ask me to interview the children, correct?
No.
Okay. Did you ask Mr. Segrest if you could interview the children?
No.
Okay. Are you aware that Mr. Segrest has visitation with the children on the first, third, and fifth weekends of the month?
I was not aware of his exact visitation.
Okay. Why didn't you ask him if you could talk to the children?
He lives in Colorado, and I wouldn't be able to interview the children in person at his home.
Okay. Do you know that for a fact, or you're just guessing?
He gave me his address in Colorado to mail him the parent forms I had to.
And the children live here, so somehow they're getting from Amarillo to Colorado, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, Miss Wall, could you have asked Mr. Segrest if you could interview the child while she was with him?
I suppose, yes.
Okay. Did you do that?
No.
Could you have gone to school to interview the child?
Per my supervisor's direction, because Ms. Fowler retained counsel, I wasn't going to go interview the children without her knowledge. That's also not how alternative response works.
Legally, to your knowledge, could you have gone to the school to interview the children?
As I am unsure of that. In my knowledge, no, I would not have, because she retained counsel, and that would not allow me to speak with the children.
Okay. I don't represent the children to your knowledge, correct?
I would, no.
Okay. Are you aware that it's interference with an investigation and you can seek an order to aid if you have exhausted those methods to get to the child and you cannot?
If that is the policy, I would have to go look and read it. Yes.
Do you agree with me, Miss Wall, that my client, Michelle Fowler, is not the only way you could have gone to speak to the children?
Yes.
Do you agree with me, Miss Wall, that this is not an emergency?
I don't believe it's an emergency. No, it's not.
Okay. And when you and I spoke, I believe what I said to you was my client was not interested in any services. Is that accurate?
Now I wouldn't be able to say exactly what you stated. I only remember you stating that you would reach back out to me after speaking to her. That is what I had made sure I wrote down.
Okay.
So.
And to be clear, you don't have any concerns and you haven't received any reports about my client using narcotics, correct?
Miss Fowler, no. That Miss Fowler's using narcotics, no. I apologize. Sorry.
And so just to be clear about the video, it would appear that Mr. Seagrass sat on that video for almost 3 months. And now it's a concern, right?
Yes.
In essence, Ms. Wall, are you needing to speak to Ms. Fowler to check a box to close your file?
No, not to just check a box. That's not what we're about. I'd like to ensure the children are safe and rule out allegations if possible.
Okay. And you have agreed that there was no neglect that you're aware of, correct?
That I'm aware of. That's the no.
I'll pass the witness.
Okay. Mr. Groff, anything further?
Just briefly, Ms. Wall, counsel asked you about your communication with her, and then there was a question regarding there was a question she asked you, and you said something to the effect of that Ms. Sapien was going to contact her client and then get back to you after speaking with her client. Is that right?
Yes.
So you were looking. Is it fair to say you were looking to have a more fulsome kind of question and answer with the mom as part of your initial investigation?
Yes, part of the alternative response is sitting down with the family and speaking with them. And I did advise that Miss Sapien could be there when we did that.
Okay. Did she ever get back to you?
No.
Okay. And you were aware, you testified you were aware that there was a custody battle between these two parents. Did you factor that in when you began your investigation?
I factored it into the fact that it shouldn't influence my investigation. The custody battles isn't part of what I do.
Okay. But it sounds like, based on your prior testimony, the video raised the level of concern once you saw the video. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And that was beyond the fact that they're having this custody fight over the kiddos.
Yes.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Sapien, anything further?
I just have one question. Ms. Wall, what is it that my client can do, or if this court were to order her to aid you in the investigation of Dallas?
Well, I'd like to speak with her and determine if he's living in the home, and speak with the children about any people living in the home to rule out whether he's there or not.
I'll pass the witness.
Okay. Anything further? Oh,
No,
go ahead.
nothing further.
No.
Okay.
I had already asked the question earlier, Judge.
All right. All right. All right, Mr. Groff, anything further?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Ms. Sapien?
Nothing further, nothing to present, except a closing, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Wall, let me just ask you, and this, you may not know the answer to this, but do you know what the subject of this modification between the parents is? I mean, is it child support? Is it visitation? Is it custody?
I don't have any details about what's going on between them.
Okay. All right. So that, since you don't know any details about that, then that's not anything that's clouded or entered into your attempted investigation into this.
No, ma'am.
Good. All right. Okay. All right. Anybody have anything else they want to ask Ms. Wall?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
No, Your Honor.
All right, then does the department rest?
At this point, unless the court would like to see the video, the department rests, Your Honor.
Well, the court's not heard anything that I haven't heard anything that children were present, or you could hear voices of children in the background, or that there was any reference to them in this video. I haven't really heard a lot about, probably because we don't know, in what context it was made, why it was made, any of those things. And it's all pretty, it's come to you all in a pretty roundabout way. Not saying it isn't as described, that it wouldn't be concerning, but I'm not sure that it's going to rise to, the legal standard that would be required for me to sign an order in aid. I think it, if nothing else, should set off some alarm bells to the mother about who she's keeping company with. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm not going to grant it. I'm going to deny the request for the order in aid of investigation. I think if they've got this kind of case pending, they're going to be under somebody else's microscope. And, fully expect that video may be aired in a district court somewhere or elsewhere, but I'm not sure that alone is the basis for me to grant this. If there had been some some evidence that maybe mother was using narcotics or abusing alcohol, or that she was directly involved in this, I would have probably a different take on it. But it's this standalone, and it's just him, and we don't even know whether mother was there, or it's just, I don't know. So anyway, Ms. Sapien, I hope your client that will be her takeaway, that sadly you can't control everybody around you or what they do, but you can control who you let in your home.
I understand, Your Honor.
So, all right. I appreciate everybody's time. I really do. I know that a lot of these, we don't have time to do hearings, but I felt like since Ms. Sapien was already representing her, we really needed to do this, not quite so ex parte. So
that's
okay.
Fine, Your Honor. And I misspoke on Tuesday when I said it was my last matter before you for the week, but I think this one is.
Well, you didn't know it was going to be your last matter.
That's right. Knock on wood. If unless something else comes up, I will see you on the docket next week.
I was going to say, you got to qualify because you never know what might come up.
This is true.
So anyway, all right.
Thanks, Bailey.
I really appreciate everybody jumping on. I know short notice, it makes it hard for everybody's schedule. So I really appreciate y'all doing this. Thank you very much.
No problem, Judge. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank y'all.
Bye.